Procast to the dummy grid, please. That's doing your procast to the dummy grid now.
Welcome back to Teesside Karting. Apologies for the delay in the live feed transmission. We've had some technical issues which involved a power cut, which saw us bring a premature end to the cadet coverage. As we see there, a tyre removing itself from the back of the number 38 of Sam Barrett. That brings a premature end to his qualifying session. That'll need a little bit of work, because looking at the gap through the, I think that could have, the hub has completely removed itself from the back end of that car. It's currently sat in quite a precarious position on the inside of the D-shaped hairpin. So as the action returns back just in time there to see the unfortunate events of Sam Barrett. So like I say, we had some technical issues regarding a power cut that brought a premature end to the feed of our cadet qualifying session, which saw Oliver Buckton put his championship leading car on pole position. We return with 5.5 minutes remaining of our two-stroke class, and the early pace setter in the wet conditions is the number 77 of Richard Callen. Drivers with the blue coloured numbers on your live timing screen are our senior drivers. Drivers with the white background on the live timing screen are our junior drivers. We will keep an eye out on those today. They start where they qualify though, so as it stands we're going to have a senior and a junior on the front row. Callen there in the number 77 is your pace setter, and he's currently got the second in hand as the number 22 is going slowly round that bottom corner as well. Cannon's eased off, as has the 22, giving themselves a little bit of space with 4 minutes remaining. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of these drivers pitting quite early and saving these wet tyres on these two-stroke cars for the rest of the race day, as Callen slides the back end out round hairpin 3 and hairpin 4. Onto the start straight to give himself another lap, sets himself up early. Underway, improvement there from the number 98, Daniel Kell moves him up to 4th. So grid as it stands with 4 minutes remaining: Callen, Prentice, Ambrose and Kell. Barrett in the 58 is 5th, but takes no further part in the session due to having 3 wheels on his wagon. In 6th we have Jude Cole, 7th Joe Slammin, who improves slightly in time but remains 7th. Ben Ficini is 8th, William Young 9th. Paul Swan in the 52 is 10th with James Austin 11th. Chris Gibbons, Zach Bowker and Tom Reeve, 14 carts on your two-stroke grid, largest two-stroke grid that we've seen so far this season here at Teesside. The grid slowly growing throughout the season and now giving a very, very good account of itself and that of two-stroke karting in the northeast of England. Jude Cole improves in time, moves up to 5th, moves Sam Barrett down to 6th. We have 3 minutes remaining, so drivers are going to have 3 to 4 laps to improve. Ambrose in the 44 improves and goes into 2nd. So Callen, Ambrose, Prentice and Kell, the top 4 at the moment, with Jude Cole in 5th. Then we have Sam Barrett, who remains 6th, but can't improve on his time. Then William Young is back in 7th. He's got around about 4 tenths to make up. You see the 26th of Chris Gibbons going round the outside of Max Prentice. So he's gone a little bit further in terms of circuits. So that could have compromised his lap. The lightness there of Prentice in the junior kart gets the run out of the corner and he moves away. 2 minutes remaining, and it's going to take something very, very special by any other driver to remove Richard Callen from pole position. Callen running in the next 30, Ambrose in road tax. So we do have a mix of 2-stroke karts here at Teesside. Everybody with a 2-stroke kart, welcome to bring what they've got and race here at Teesside, as we see Ben Ficini in the number 4 improves with a 55.557. That moves Joe Slammon down to 9th. As we watch the number 26, Chris Gibbons, comes round hairpin 3, sliding the back end out in the wet conditions. Same with hairpin 4. 2 completely different lines around those 2 corners. It's tight on the inside of 3, then quite wide round the outside of 4. Clipping through the puddles on the inside of 4 of these corners. See the 21 of Austin throwing it into the D chicane, and it manages to get it stopped before the tarmac ends there. So we see him in the number 21 come through, taking a huge chunk of curb in the inside of the chicanes. Those curbs really should come with a warning sign. They're quite hard and quite aggressive for the drivers when they go over. We have seen a couple of our Bambino drivers in their small karts go over those earlier in the season, and they get a little bit of air, as James did there in the 21. Driver enjoying the wet conditions. As we see now, we have 35 seconds remaining. These drivers will get over the line just in time to improve on their times with one more chance, as has Joe Slammon that time round, moves up to 7th from 9th, nudging Young and Ficini down. Catching there the 77 in the background, that is your current pole sitter Richard Callen. He's going to have one more opportunity if he wants to take it. Doesn't look like he has though. He's backed out of a lap, moves out, and in all honesty it looks like he's done enough to start our 2-stroke class from pole position. Drivers, first one over, so that's Callen is over. That's the 77 actually. We've got 2 drivers running 77. We've got 77 of Richard Callen and the 077 of Jude Cole, and that looked like that one was Jude Cole backing out of his lap. Dan Kell comes over the line in the 89 kart, so he will start in 4th unless Cole or Swan can improve their time. Ambrose, the only other driver in with an opportunity of disposing Richard Callen off pole position. Austin and Gibbon both come over, no improvement. 5 karts remaining, 4 karts remaining, actually to take the flag. That's the 77 of Cole coming over, but looked like he'd already backed out of his lap. So Richard Callen will start in pole position alongside Andy Ambrose. Max Prentice, the fastest of our junior drivers. He starts third alongside Daniel Kell. So we have one more qualifying session to bring you. It will be our senior pro kart class. Thumbs up to the camera there by the 77. Always welcome. We'll watch them come over the weighbridge in the background, and you can see now more than ever the raindrops falling onto the circuit. We've got a trolley going out into the background. We've got the kart stricken on the back straight, as well as, I believe earlier, as well as the 38 of Sam Barrett, which will have to come back on a trailer. That is the 89 of Daniel Kell, our final winner here last time out. 33 is going to come over, that's Max Prentice. He's our junior championship leader. And, in all honesty, he's probably got that one wrapped up already. Will Young comes over. Notice there on the side of the kart, the team karting logo, they've got 7 or 8 or maybe more drivers with us here today. There's another driver with the same livery come over, James Austin. They're in the same stable in the paddock, so we'll keep an eye out for that logo and that team throughout the day. 52 Paul Swan comes over, so we have one class remaining. They're lined up in the background. It is our senior pro kart class, and they will run slick tyres only, so watch for different lines when they come out onto circuit. The technique with that is to, especially on your tighter corners, is to throw it in, jack the wheel and the stops before you find the grass. So we'll watch that as they go out on circuit, those drivers getting themselves into the seats of their karts. They probably have about 30 seconds before the circuit is cleared of stricken karts from the two-stroke class. Then we'll get those out. There they go, out in the background. The first one out onto the circuit is our final winner from last time out, the O-plate of Josh Falkus. Won all 3 heats and the final here at round number 6, putting an end to 20 consecutive wins by championship leader Connor Lucas. So 2 drivers have really dominated this series so far. First 20 wins by Connor Lucas, the following 4 by Josh Falkus. See how they go. So there you can see as we watch the O-plate of Falkus go round the bottom corner on the slick tyres in these wet conditions. Wheel is turned, wait for it to grip, and then feather the throttle and get the power down. So the first driver round and over the line, the first one testing the conditions since practice, and it is noticeably wetter now than what it was when these drivers were out practicing about an hour ago, as they come over the line sideways for Falkus. Throws it into the bus stop chicane, clips the rather large puddle on the inside and dissipates the water away from the circuit. So on screen are your 2 championship front runners, Josh Falkus. Behind him in the orange and yellow bright car is Connor Lucas. Let's have a quick look when the lap times come round to see how much the lap time difference is in terms of these drivers from when they normally would race when it is dry. As Lucas moves to the head of the field by taking a much different line into that hairpin. He went very, very deep, turned it on a sixpence and drove it down the inside of Falkus as we watch the rest of the field feather their way through the 2 hairpin complexes at the start. So we have 2 hairpins here at each end of the circuit that double back on themselves here at Teesside. First driver that will come over the line to set a time will be the 43 of Connor Lucas. Having overtaken Josh Falkus on that lap, it will be Connor Lucas who will be the early pace setter. So we have Lucas from Falkus taking a huge amount of curb in the second of those 4 little corners that they go through before they go into the left-hand hairpin 1. Clear visors for drivers today, so we see how they work. That's the 53 in the background, and the driver running a slightly different number in a new car. That's Sam Harris. Driver that you'll see works very, very hard in the wet conditions, aggressively moving his body around in that car to switch the weight and centre of gravity. So we'll see if he can catch up onto the back of Lucas and Falkus to see if he can guide, to see how he's going to come through and set some times. In this qualifying session, 7 minutes remaining. As drivers throwing the kart round in the wet conditions and over the line. Brandon Truman Reddish comes over the line. Same with Ben Fallon, Mark Tate and David Brown. So you'll see the drivers coming over. Timing screen shows Ben Fallon, one of our blue numbered drivers on there. That's one of our pro drivers that you should expect to see at the front of the field on a normal race day. Red is our clubman driver, headed at the moment by Brandon Truman Reddish. The lead number drivers on the screen are our drivers who race in our 40s class. So at the moment we have a time of 1 minute 3 seconds, 0.333 for Ben Fallon, early pace setter, although 3 drivers were running round at the front of the field. The 43 of Lucas, Falkus and Harris have not had any times come up the first time round, There they do now, all three of them jump towards the head of the field. Conor Lucas, the pace setter, 1 minute and 1:07.2 is the time to beat, as the 73 of Danielle Gardner goes very wide over the line. Potentially 2 laps ruined there for that one as the across the line on the grass. We've got Lucas from Focus and Callen, the top 3. Brandon Truman-Reddish 4th, Sam Harris 5th. Jake Brooker is 6th in the 1:11. David Brown and Colin White. Nigel Richardson and Mark Tate. As we watch the 55 of David Brown going round the 73 of Danielle Gardner. And then in the background there, the 1:11 of Jake Brooker. Drivers will be coming round to set their lap, and Lucas comes over. Slight improvement, same with Focus as well. Callen has dropped down to 4th. Sam Harris moves up into 3rd place. Still a second off, though the wet conditions. Drivers feeling out, and you can see on screen the different lines that everybody's taking to try and find as much grip as they possibly can here on this very, very wet Teesside Autodrome circuit. Conor White improves and goes up to 6th, with Jake Brooker dropping down to 7th. The other Conor White driver who is battling for our Clubman Championship in direct competition with the 73 of Danielle Gardner. Although he is shown on screen at present with a blue background, I believe he is in the Clubman Championship. 4 points between those 2 drivers. And a very, very tight battle. At the head of the field though, with 4 minutes remaining, it is the number 43 of Conor Lucas. He's got 7/10 of a second in hand to the O-plated Focus as we have a spinner at the bottom corner. That's the 52. That is Conor White, who we were speaking about a few moments ago. Lap ruined as he's facing the wrong way at hairpin 3. That's the 98 coming over the line. Emma Brown setting a time. 98 cars. Just over 3 minutes remaining. Drivers. The field split in this wet weather conditions. Some drivers relish it, some drivers especially with the slick tyres. Some will go very, very deep into corners and then cut back to the inside. Some go tight and then let it run wide. Especially in race conditions, you'll see a lot of drivers going down the inside and crossing over and coming back. Focus improves on his time, but it's still only a fraction of a second, and he needs tenths rather than thousandths to dispose the pole position time at the moment of a 1 minute 1:330 of Conor Lucas, as he goes down the inside there, I believe, of the 4 of Josh Eden. Arm up was a courteous thank you as the 43 goes down the back straight there. Improvements coming in the midfield as Nigel Richardson moves up to 8th, and he's head of our 40s class with the following drivers in that: Mark Tate, David Brewis, as we have caught the spinner there at the back end of the circuit. Couldn't figure out who number it was before the camera cut away. It's the 151 going on the back straight of Brandon Truman-Reddish. I believe it was the driver that pirouetted into hairpin 2. Conor Lucas pushing the boundaries there as he skims the cone as they go into the bus stop chicane at the start of the circuit, before heading round the National Loop corner as he does through the small chicanes, smashing the curbs on the inside and the outside of that corner to try and gain as much time as he possibly can. It's really closed up at the thing. Focus has in fact found them tenths we were talking about rather than thousandths. It is now 2,000ths of a second that he needs. Conor Lucas rightly looks over his shoulder, and it's his shoulder into the timing screen that he needs. He's going to probably get another attempt at the end of this. He's got 1 minute to come round remaining, so he's going to get at least another thing. It's number 5 of Ben Lester, goes round the outside. Different lines there. Lucas will get on the power We'll see as he comes over the line, see whether he can have any improvement and increase the cushion. He does increase the cushion, 4/10 it is now, a 1 minute 9.69 for Conor Lucas. So Fulkus is going to have to finish as the cone behind is skittled into the chicane. I'm not sure which driver that was. The driver behind prior was Leicester, so maybe it was him skittling the cones at the start of that corner. The cones have done fairly well so far today until the senior lads have come out, and then we've seen a few of them meet their fate at the hands of front bumper of a senior pro car. Sam Harris peels off into the pits before the session ends, and he will start third at best. So we have Conor Lucas with a 4/10 lead from Josh Fulkus. Lucas, your current championship leader. Fulkus currently in second in the championship. Really needs a maximum score today. Does Josh Fulkus to keep the championship hopes alive? We'll talk about that a little bit later on as the checkered flag comes out. The first driver over the line to take the checkered flag will be Conor Lucas. No improvement from him. Fulkus in the background comes through, aborts the lap and will not improve. So it will be very likely that it's Conor Lucas unless Ben Fallon can find a second and a half. Wet conditions, so as they come over, that's Josh Fulkus on the weighbridge. Another driver in the background in the 7 car looks to be Brandon Truman Reddish. I believe, no, it's the 5 of Leicester. Them carts look very similar and both have 5s on them. Truman Reddish does in fact improve, goes up to 4th. So the grid as it stands, Conor Lucas and Josh Fulkus share the front row with Sam Harris in 3rd, Brandon Truman Reddish in 4th. We have Ben Fallon in 5th, Josh Brooker 6th, Nigel Richardson 7th, Martin Black in 8th. Mark Tate is 9th, Scott Tate 10th, so an all Tate 5th row. Connor White, David Brown, Danielle Gardner, Emma Brown, David Ruiz, Adam Wood, Michael Yeadon, Ben Lester, Alban Dowell and Josh Eden are the top 20. The checkered flag is out. Movement in the background. I don't think we're going to get too many breaks today. Looks like it's our Bambino drivers are getting themselves ready to come out for their first race of the day. So we'll be back very, very shortly with our first race. It will be our Bambinos. So good morning and welcome to Teesside Karting. It's race time for round number 7 of the NRG Cycles Owner-Driver Sprint Series. I am David Sullivan taking you through all of today's action, starting in a few moments with the youngest of our drivers, the Bambinos. We will then move through to Junior Pro Karts, Cadets, 2-stroke and Senior Pro Karts. We have 20 races for you today on the card at a very, very wet Teesside Autodrome in Middlesbrough as we see our Bambinos come through to grid up for their first heat. On pole will be the number 19 of Felix Smedley. Behind him will be the 7 of Scarlett Dunn. Number 4 in 3rd is Oliver Sybil from the number 22 of Thomas Potter, a driver whose qualifying session was curtailed slightly early. 44 behind him is Edward Haynes. So as we follow the Bambino grid, that is the number 22 of Thomas Potter. our current championship leader, but wasn't able to put full times in qualifying. Number 6 is Jacob Richardson with 53 of Bobby Peat behind. 66 is Edward Wray. 69 is Reilly in his number 69 car now, a new car for him. Moves to an MS previous sit car. Number 88 is Ollie Carter, and the number 8 there is Harrison Dunn, the back of our grid in his first competitive outing in motorsport in his Bambino. Everybody gridded up, parents have left the grid. The number 19 at the head of the field is Felix Smedley. He's going to get his underway here. In this Bambino Heat 1, as soon as the start line marshal is given the all clear from race control. Reminder that our Bambinos do time trial, so they will go over the line. They will then have 7 minutes to complete as many laps as they possibly can in these wet conditions here at Teesside. The driver with the fastest cumulative time of those laps will be declared our winner. So as we watch the number 19 of Felix Smedley make his way round the National Loop corner on his opening tour of the Teesside Autodrome circuit through the chicanes, as the drivers in the background are set on their way, 2 to 3 second intervals, giving each driver an equal opportunity. Wipes the visor in between hairpins 2 and 3. There he goes onto the back straight. We've got him shown down as having a comma engine. I'll tell you now, that is not a comma engine on that car. That's an IARMI, and that would very, very much explain why he was 2 seconds quicker than everybody else in qualifying. So we'll keep an eye on him. The IARMIs can run a different specification of tyre. They run wet and dries rather than the LeConte all-weather for the Commodore 50. So we do expect Smedley to be out at the head of the field for most of the day, with the slight power increase that the engine has. Come back very shortly to our leading Comet driver as they come over the line for the first time. It's always interesting to see what a driver's first lap is. It often makes a lot of difference come at the end of the session. Scarlett Dunn sets a time of a 1:12. We've got a 1:13 for Sibbald. Thomas Potter sets a 1:15 with Haynes coming over behind. We'll see what Haynes does. Haynes with a 1:17. Richardson with a 1:14 behind. So Richardson showing some pace, as with Bobby Peat as well. 4 more drivers to come over as we follow the number 7 of Scarlett Dunn down the back stretch and into the South Bank corner. The far end of the circuit, the back corner, which leads then into the final 2 hairpins of the circuit. There's the third one, that's hairpin 3, where she had a little spin in the qualifying session. We have round hairpin 4. The circuit now opens itself up through 2 flat-out sweeping corners over the start line. So Smedley already through on his next lap. So Dunn is through. Shown as 7 seconds down. Sibbald comes through in 4th. Potter behind in 4th. Haynes Richardson with that fast lap first time round, although we didn't see him move up on the timing screen, although he has closed right up onto the back of Edward Haynes, so suggestion there that he's going to be in front of him when the checkered flag comes out. 2 other drivers running close together, the 53 of Bobby Peat, 66 of Edward Wray. Then we have Reilly Buckton Young as well, now right. There, 47, 8 down, leader over the line, Ollie Carter and Harrison Dunn. There are 11 drivers. The 4 of Oliver Sibbald. Weather conditions certainly look to be worsening out in circuit conditions. There's a lot more standing water on the outside of the South Bank corner as on the entry to hairpin 3. We have 4.5 remaining of Bambino Heat over the line. I'm going to pick up the next guy over. It It is the 22 of Thomas Potter. Thomas Potter, our championship leader at the moment, sitting on 818 points, which is a 19-point cushion to the driver that's just behind him, Edward Haynes. Haynes, though, a driver really in form, having picked up numerous heat and final wins in the last couple of rounds, really closed up the gap, and the Bambino Championship will very, very likely come down to the final race of the season between Thomas Potter and Edward Haynes. Jacob Richardson, a driver then in behind those. He currently sits in third in the championship, 35 points off. 41 points off the lead then is Scarlett Dunn. So the top four drivers in Bambino split by 41 points in this incredibly close championship. At the moment, it's Scarlett Dunn running at the head of the field in these wet weather conditions, relishing it at the moment with Felix Smedley in his Solai Army out at the head of the field. Then we have Scarlett Dunn, Oliver Sybil, Thomas Potter, Edward Haynes, Jacob Richardson, we have Bobby Peat, Edward Wray, Reilly Buckton Young, Ollie Carter and Harrison Dunn on the timing screen. All 11 of our Bambino drivers out on circuit and running. So we have 3 minutes remaining now, so that's 2-3 laps maybe for Smedley to put it in as we follow the 44. That is Haynes coming through, and they're three drivers running really close together. That's Haynes in 5th, Richardson in 6th, Bobby Peat in 7th. So Haynes in the 44 at the front there in the black and green cart with all black livery. Behind him in the colourful cart is Jacob Richardson with the bright orange helmet and green colours. Behind him is the 53 of Peat in the red cart, I believe the 53 attached to the front of that as Scarlett Dunn comes through very, very shortly, set fastest time last time, fastest of all our Bambino drivers that are running commas. She got down into the 109, 186, so a good time for her. Second faster than most other drivers, although Sybil now drops a second off his personal best for a 109, 280. As we see there on circuit, the number 6 of Jacob Richardson closing the gap every corner to Edward Haynes. Richardson gets a good drive out of that corner, closes right onto the back of these two. Doesn't really need to overtake Haynes to have a jump on him on the timing, because it is a cumulative time. So each driver starts effectively at 0, and it's however quickly they complete their time, their number of laps in the time allowed, which is 7 minutes, which should see our drivers in these conditions complete 7 laps. At the very least for Smedley, who will come through, and he should be over the line in time to complete at least 6, potentially 7, as the last lap board is out. So that's 6 now he's completed. 7 as Richardson moves past Haynes as they go onto the back straight. Haynes gets a little bit of a run and tries to duck back down the inside, but no can do. He's going to try and take the line right round the outside in the search for grip, and he does, and chops right across the front of the number 6. Nobody's telling these little drivers that it's time trial they're racing. Remember, Bambino drivers, a class aimed at drivers from the ages of 5 to 8 years old. And these drivers, some of them 5 years old, really mixing it up out on the circuit. As they come through, they also get their last lap board, chopping and changing in places. Haynes went in front now, it's Richardson back to the two, those two battling it out. Bobby Peat watching behind, Messi in the house, watching this battle out on circuit here as we follow the final laps. Hopefully you're enjoying the action, whether you're watching us on Alpha Live or via the Teesside Karting Facebook page. Please do leave us a comment, get in touch with us here in the commentary box. We'll have a read through those as the day goes on. If you're watching from the circuit and you can hear us over the PA system as well, please do get in touch and let me know how wet you are, because I do not envy any of you stood out there underneath an umbrella today. The checkered flag is out. The race winner for Bambino Heat 1 is Felix Smedley. Scarlett Dunn second, Oliver Sybil and Thomas Potter come through. Jacob Richardson will come through. He will be in 5th from Edward Haynes. Haynes has got his arm up already, but he needs to come through and take the checkered flag still. Still needs to take the checker. Comes through. Yes, he does. Haynes comes through with 6th. Bobby Peat 7th. We wait for Edward Wray to come through very shortly. There is Bobby Peat in the 53 cart behind. Very, very close towards the end for those two drivers. And, I think Peat may have just nicked it on their own overall cumulative time. There he is. We've watched him in the number 53 come round the bottom corner. In the background there, the green number plate is our winner, Felix Smedley, in the number 19, followed by our common winner, the number 7 of Scarlett Dunn. As we watch our Bambinos make their way off the circuit, we will soon be joined by our junior pro kart class. So as we watch them come over, that's the 69, that's Reilly, Buckton Young, and you can see there now, every time we go back to the weighbridge, it seems to be raining a little bit more. Very, very tricky conditions here. It's a very wet Teesside Autodrome in Middlesbrough. We'll be back very, very shortly with the coverage, and we'll cover our junior pro karts. So welcome back for our first heat of Junior Pro Kart, first kart out of the dummy grid, the number 38 championship leader Aaron Alexander. He will start on the inside of the front row alongside the 13 of Callen Booth. Second row will be made up of the number 24 of Jack Morris. Alongside him in 4th will be Asha Blythe. So we will give you a full rundown of the grids as they come round and take up their positions. The wet tyres, full effect here for the junior pro karts. 13 carts on the grid, they'll come through and they will be instructed to make their way forward for their standing start. The only class today that you'll see will do a rolling start will be the 2 strokes. They will go straight on and miss out the first D-shaped chicane, as will the cadets when they come out for their race. Junior Pro Kart. So as your front row comes forward on the inside there, the white and orange helmet, white and orange livery, the number 38, the championship leader Aaron Alexander, alongside the 13 of Callen Booth. Second row. Inside is the number 24 of Jack Morris, alongside him the number 15 of Asha Blythe. 14 is Ciaran Lambert, and on the outside there is currently championship runner-up at the moment is Mason Fourth
Parker.
row, 19, Sandra Ballesteros, alongside the 17 of Owen Spears. Then we have Thomas Bray and Brandon Jennings. 42 is Jacob O'Connor. He starts alongside Ben Hogarth. 18, rounding out the grid is Benjamin Hafferton. The start line marshal now makes his way back to the front of the circuit. Rain coming down in the puddles in the background. Green flag in hand for the start line marshal. Green flag is up. Green flag is down. We are underway. It looked like a good start by Booth, but it looks like it's going to be Alexander who holds station. It's not though. Callen Booth goes in first, but goes in a little bit deep. Runs wide, and Alexander retakes the lead. So Booth led very, very shortly. Morris still comes through in third, so we'll let them sort themselves out through the chicanes. And once the spray dies down, we'll figure out where everybody is. Alexander goes into there. We've got Morris, makes a move down the inside of Callen Booth. So fast starting Morris from the second row. Goes down the inside into second. Morris now will try and stick it out round the outside, and he does. So it looks like Callen Booth could go back into second. 14 in the background is Ciaran Lambert coming through from the third row to go up into third place. A great start for the 14 of Lambert. Barker as well in the background, so Lambert and Morris will now go side by side through that puddle, and it will be Lambert who will hold firm. Morris has to yield and drop in the background. So as they come over now, first lap, fastest lap as expected from your leader, Aaron Alexander, Callen Booth, Ciaran Lambert, Jack Morris. That they'll be battling it out now as Lambert looks to move away. In fifth we have Barker. Blythe has dropped down from 4th to 6th. Spears is 7th. Ballesteros 8th. Jennings, Braid, O'Connor, Haffenden and Hogarth. So Haffenden makes a move early, moves himself up to 12th. So Aaron Alexander is away, and he will be looking to move himself as far away as he can at the head of the field. The only one that he really does need to pay attention to really is the 41. It's a two-horse championship battle between Aaron Alexander and the 41 of Mason Barker. Morris comes back down the inside of Lambert. Jack Morris then goes up into third, and that's where he currently sits in the championship, but only with a 2-point cushion from Callen Booth and Ciaran Lambert. Teesside Championship runs on a best of 7 from 9 rounds, so drivers will drop their 2 worst scores, so keeps things very, very tight in terms of performance. Drivers can always better their worst score and drop that one. So out in the lead by almost a second now is Aaron Alexander. He is away. Morris has pulled out a little bit of a gap, it seems, from Lambert as the field spreads itself out in these wet conditions. Barker looking to close, but he's being kept honest by Blythe just behind. Driver we know as well in wet, changeable conditions, having put it on the front row here earlier in the season. Behind him in the blue car, Owen Spears, perhaps a surprise package of the last round, and got himself on a podium. Fast improvement. Wet weather conditions today is a real field leveller for any driver. Behind him, the 19 of Sandra Ballesteros. Top 11 drivers still covered by 10 seconds, but it's Aaron Alexander out in front. He's got a comfortable gap, as has Callen Booth. Lap times obviously reduced a lot because of the weather conditions, worsening as we noticed from our qualifying session earlier today. Blythe a lot closer now than what he has been on the previous lap to Barker. Takes a wide line round the outside, spraying water as he goes. Looks to cut back. He's going to have to see where each of them go really, really wide. Takes the cut back down the inside. Both drivers, it looks like he's got a better drive, and he has. Is he going to have the confidence to cut across on Barker? Doesn't need to. Barker gets it slightly sideways and impedes himself. So Asha Blythe moves up a place and moves into the top 5 at the expense of Mason Barker, who goes down to 6th. Spears 7th, Ballesteros remains in 8th. So now we have Mason Barker coming, looking to move back onto the inside. Have a quick look towards your full rundown with 6 remaining. Alexander, Booth, Morris, Lambert and Blythe. Barker, Spears, Ballesteros, Braid, Jennings, O'Connor, Haffenden and Hogarth. Alexander relishing the wet conditions, still pushing, extending the gap lap on lap from Booth. This 10-lap junior pro kart race, half distance, fastest lap as they go over for Alexander. 54.785, extends the gap by another 4/10 to Booth. Alexander looking to get another maximum points haul out of today, as he has done on a number of occasions already this season. The 19 of Ballesteros really now close to the back of Owen Spears in the 17 there, the blue car. Behind them looks to be the number 12, that's Thomas Braid. Solid battle further down, Jennings and O'Connor within a second of each other in these wet conditions. Pick up our race leader going around hairpin 4, cuts across the line halfway through and currently has a 1.8 second lead. Looks like that could be extended even further as he comes over Personal best though for Boone this time. Another driver to go into the 54s for the 54.940. The gap though is still extended out slightly, still 1.9 seconds, and this one looks like it could be in the bag for Aaron Alexander, but with the changeable weather conditions, nothing is set in stone until that checkered flag drops. Best lap at the Jacob O'Connor in 11th. So we follow our race leader Brown. Alexander behind him now. Callen Booth, there he is in the red car with the white livery, working the wheel incredibly hard in these wet conditions. He's got a fairly comfortable cushion of 1.2 back to Morris, who now has extended the gap out from Ciaran Lambert, driver he was battling with and exchanging tarmac earlier on in the race. 3 remaining now as Alexander comes over the line a few moments ago to complete lap 7. The 24 of Morris though has dropped away. Lambert up to 3rd, Blythe 4th, Barker in 5th. Morris has come over in 6th, so it looks like we've had a spin for Morris, or at the very least some form of problem for him. He's dropped away from what was a really comfortable 3rd, and like I said, nothing can be taken for granted in these conditions. So we'll see how he comes. Thomas Braid in the 12 has pitted from 11th place according to the screen, so we'll see how he goes later on in the day. Hopefully he doesn't have any problems and he returns to the track for Heat 2. There's the 14 now of our third place runner. Ciaran Lambert, to see now where Jack Morris comes. He looks to be, in terms of timing, right at the back of Mason Barker. Looking in the background, it looks like he could be in front. Comes over the line, he is, he's got back past Barker, so making amends for his spin, moves back into the top 5 at the expense of Mason Barker. Looks like we've got 2 drivers that have pitted, that's the 11 and the 37, that's Thomas Braid and Ben Hogarth. 2 remaining lap forward will come out half a lap's time for our race leader, Aaron Alexander. 19 there on the Owen Spears. Sandra Ballesteros, who's going to try and make a move around the south bank corner. Let's see, takes a slightly different line. He goes wider, whereas Spears goes tight. Sandra will look then now to cut back to the inside, and he does. Clips a puddle, that could cause him a problem. He'll look to go for the cutback again on the way out of this corner, but he can't. Not enough traction on the way out. But both of those drivers are closing in on the 41 of Mason Barker. Both drivers pushing each other to personal best. That time round, both within a 1/10 of each other, and a little bit of contact as they go round the National Loop corner. Ballesteros catching the back end of Spears. That could have hampered both of them as the last lap flag is out, to the board for last lap, telling our drivers that they have 1 lap remaining. They move on to the back straight, so it's half a lap and around about 25 seconds for Aaron Alexander to hold on. All of our drivers through now for last lap. He comes out of the final corner as we stick with the 17 of Spears, as we now cut back to the checkered flag, and there it is. The first heat and first spoils go to Aaron Alexander. Callen Booth comes over in second from Ciaran Lambert, Asha, Blythe and Jack Morris recovering to 5th, having run as high as 3rd. Barker, Spears, Ballesteros, Jennings is still the next one to come over. He's battling with O'Connor. There's half a second between those two. We'll see what their timing screen says when they come over. It is in fact O'Connor who comes through just behind Jennings. Thumbs up for the 2 front runners on the outside there, the 38 and championship leader and first heat race winner Aaron Alexander, looking to maximise his points haul, and a maximum score will certainly not do him any harm in his quest for a championship here. And Teesside, of course, having won the cadet championship last year, moves up the first year, this inaugural junior pro kart class, and has taken to very, very well. Leads the championship from Mason Barker by 15 points. As we watch all our drivers come off the circuit and over the weighbridge, we'll be back in a few moments with of our cadet heats. back to Teesside karting for round number 7, in which we're about to see our cadet drivers head out onto circuit. Hope you're enjoying the coverage live, brought to you by Alpha Live in association with our kind sponsors NRG Cycles. We'll speak about those a little bit later on during the day as we catch our cadet drivers coming round to take up their position. It will be our front row of Championship leader number 66, Oliver Buckton, alongside the number 8 of Bella Franklin. So we see them come through there now. It's the 66 on the inside. There he goes to the inside, takes place number 1. Number 8, Bella Franklin is second. These drivers will go straight on chicane and go round the National Loop corner for their first corner of the day in these wet conditions. We wait patiently for the second row to arrive. On the inside is the 23 of Charlie Wyatt. Number 50 is Lizzie Mentier on the second row. Catherine Potter and Gracie Mitchell. So that's 6 female drivers in the top 4. Maxima Shields and Jack Balding are 7 and 8 on the grid. 16, David Mack comes through. He starts in 9th. 81, Ethan Girling is 10th. 88 is Isabella Stanmore Wilson. Starts alongside the 28 of Jacob Giblett Lee. 160 driver, 2 classes here. In cadets, we have 200 Extreme, which is from a sealed engine, and 160s. So we have a mix of drivers, the 28 of our class. 160s, 52 Sebastian Corky, 37 is Jack Thompson, 42 Leon Barlow. As we look further down, 67 now, just getting a little bit of help clearing visor. Clearing his visor as the join onto the grid. Shots the pictures there slightly, but we are back. Very helpful that I can see what we're talking about. The front window is there's no way of seeing out of that. It's all on the screen. So the engine notes go up, the green flag is up as well and down. Great start from Wyatt, but Franklin is swamped from the inside. Contact as well by the 23. Wyatt's race looks to be doomed early, needs to get his throttle back on and get that going, but problems early on for the number 8 of Bella Franklin. It's caused a chain effect all the way down the field with some drivers really bogging down there. Biggest mover though is the number 11 from 6th. That looks to be Gracie Mitchell, up from the 3rd row to run in second place. Jack Balding as well looks to have made a good start as Franklin looks to now make amends down the back straight, makes a late move down the inside, but no can do. We've got a 52. It looks like we're going to catch a replay of that start. No, we're not. We've just got a spin. That's the 52 of Sebastian Corking. So as we come through the first time round, it looks to a comfortable lead at the moment after the frantic start for some of our drivers. For Buckton, Mitchell, the big mover, from 6th to 2nd. Mentier 3rd, Balding 4th, and he moved up from 8th to 4th place. Max Shields is 5th. Bella Franklin returns in 6th. Seem to be missing a driver over the line. The 67 of Oliver Meek currently missing. He was definitely there at the start getting his visor cleaned, and we had a spin unfortunately as well for the 52 of Sebastian Corking in these wet weather conditions. Head down on the back straight there from the number 11 of Gracie Mitchell, trying to close that gap down, which currently sits at just under a second to race and championship leader Oliver Buckton. Moved down the inside by the 18 of Max Shields on Jack Balding. Doesn't work out for him, and that's going to leave him potentially open to attack, although he does get a good run out of hairpin 4, but he's going to have to go the long way around the outside. Balding's not going to let that happen as they go through the D-shaped chicane. Mac moves up as well. He goes from 10th up to 9th. Movements further down as well for Giblett Lee, Thompson and Poole. That's 3 drivers all running 160s together. So battling it out in 12th, 13th and 14th. Shields does make the move and goes round the outside, finds the grip and makes it stick. Balding's going to try and return it though back down the inside. It's going to play into the hands of the cart behind. That's the 8 of Franklin, as Boulding does in turn return the favour to go down the inside. Different lines, different grip. Late move by Franklin down the inside though. Both drivers are going to run wide. Let's see how if Potter can make the most of those two. It's going to give Boulding a little bit of a breather. In fourth, Franklin makes it stick though before they go over the line. So Bella Franklin up to 5th. Max Shields is down to 6th. Ethan Girling and Leon Barlow changing places. Jack Thompson and Jacob Giblett-Lee changing places as well. So that's Thompson in his 160 moves to the head of that class. Mentier looks to be closing in onto the back of Mitchell very slightly. Franklin's next driver to try and get through is Boulding. Boulding goes defensive down the back straight. He knows something's coming sooner rather than later with 5 laps remaining of our first cadet heat. There's the move that we were expecting down the inside into hairpin 3 by Franklin. Boulding's going to look to cut back. Looks like Franklin's got the move done though. And it's open Boulding up to, lost 2 in 2 places there, but once again the cutback in these wet weather conditions. Shields goes in a little bit too hot. Loses out again to Boulding, but that battle from a few laps ago will reconvene, but now it will be for 5th place rather than 4th, as Franklin has moved past both of them with a personal best. Same with Shields as well. Oliver Poole goes past Jacob Giblett-Lee, so the top 3 in that class are Thompson in 12th, Poole 13th, Giblett-Lee in 14th. Charlie Wyatt on his recovery drive is up to 15th already. Needs to get a few more places so that he can start in that same place for the next heat. Drivers starting heat 2 where they complete heat 1. So if you win the first heat, that's where you start for heat 2. So you see Boulding chop across the front of Shields into hairpin 3, leaves himself open down the inside there. Couple of occasions as Boulding have to keep a little bit tighter, because I think Shields knows that's where he wants to make the move done, as both of these now coming under pressure from the 20 of Catherine Potter. But out in front by nearly 3 seconds, your championship leader Oliver Buckton. The championship which sees our current championship runner-up missing today in the 99 of Alex Mallard, and it's very unlikely we'll see him for the rest of the season. Struggling now, given the size of him in terms of height, to comfortably sit in his cadet cart, as we see the move that we were expecting, but it's a corner earlier than I thought it might be for Max Shields. Goes down the inside of the 25 of Boulding. Boulding looks to cut to the inside, but he doesn't. Both of them changing lines. It looks like Boulding might now come under pressure and move down the inside by Catherine Potter. Thought she nearly got both of them. She's going to have to Boulding drops back behind Potter. Potter on a charge, as Bella Franklin has gone up to 3rd from Lizzie Mentier. So top 10 with 2 remaining: Buckton, Mitchell, Franklin, Mentier, Shields, Potter, Boulding, Stanmore, Wilson, Mack and Girling. Isabella Stanmore Wilson, the driver, improving with every round and certainly enjoying the wet weather conditions, running comfortably inside the top 10 there in 8th, with Mack behind in 9th. A couple of seconds back then to Girling, as we have Thompson running in 11th. He's put Leon Barlow between him and Ollie Poole in the class of 160. In turn, he has a Charlie Wyatt in between him and Jacob Giblett-Lee. So we follow mid-pack coming through. That's the 18 of Shields. He's running 4th as our leader comes over the line, takes the last lap board. Catherine Potter's got 1 lap in order to make a move on Max Shields. Fastest laps for 3 drivers: Gracie Mitchell, Lizzie Mentier and Catherine Potter that time. But it's Oliver Buckton with a comfortable 3.2 second lead out at the head of the field. Gracie Mitchell's got half a lap to hold on from a charging Bella Franklin. They'll go down the back straight, a little look to the right to see if anything's coming. Goes slightly defensive, does Mitchell, to the inside. Let's see if Franklin wants to make a move to return to that front row. Quite defensive down the inside, and rightly so by Mitchell, wanting to start on the outside of the front row for the second heat. As they come out of hairpin 4, further down the track though is Oliver Buckton. He's going to come over the line there to take the checkered flag and win with the fastest lap as well for himself the first heat of our cadet class. Gracie Mitchell holds on for second from Bella Franklin and Lizzie Mentier. Max Shields gets 5th from Catherine Potter. Jack Boulding in 7th. Isabella Stanmore Wilson a superb 8th. David Mack and Ethan Girling rounding out 10 as they go over the line. Barlow goes wide and Charlie Wyatt gets 12th. Winner of our 160 class though is the 37 of Jack Thompson from Oliver Poole and Jacob Giblet-Lee. Great drive there by the 23 of Charlie Wyatt to come back from the back of the field after getting impeded at the start to return to 12th place. That'll be somewhere where I'm sure he can feel that he can move on and try and get himself back towards the top 6 in Heat 2. Number 66 though is your championship leader and race winner. The number 66, Oliver Buckton, comes over the line and into the Weybridge area. 2 more classes to go through for our cycle of races. So we have 20 races for you here today at Teesside. 5 in each, 5 classes, 4 races for each class. So we have Bambinos, Junior Pro Karts Cadets. The 2 strokes are lining up in the background. They'll be out very, very shortly. They'll be out for a rolling start, so we'll try and get through their grid as fast as we possibly can. And then we've got our senior Pro Kart. In the background, the unmistakable hum of a 2-stroke engine, and at the front of that 2-stroke train is the number 77 of Richard Callen. He starts on the inside of the front row with the number 44 of Andy Ambrose on the outside. 33, our leading junior driver, is Max Prentice. Keep an eye out though, because there'll be not much time to breathe. They don't stop. It's a straight rolling start for our 2-stroke class, so we'll catch the rest of the drivers as they come through. 77 on the outside with the red number is Jude Cole, so keep an eye out. We've got 2 drivers running the number 77. We've got Jude Cole in juniors, we have Richard Callen in seniors. Moves there back to the inside. That's where he'll be starting. We're going to slow it down now, let the rest of the field catch up onto the back of our 2-stroke grid. Number 21 coming through there in the background is James Austin. So we'll keep an eye out for him as he goes through. The 52 is Paul Swan. You'll not miss him today in that bright yellow livery. Might even stop at some point and do a little bit of roadworks in them colours as we are underway. The green flag drops. Richard Callen is the one with the fast start on the inside in the X30. Goes down and he's away. 44 is Andy Ambrose. Slots nicely into second. Prentice in third is our top junior. From that looks to be the 89 of Daniel Kell. 77 is Jude Cole as they go very, very slowly round there. Looks like we've been called that one as a false start. So we will try again for the first time this season in our 2-stroke class. So let's drop the excitement levels a little bit and get ourselves built up and ready to go. Again, 52 on the inside there, as mentioned in the bright colour, is Paul Swan. Everybody now seems to be where they need to be, back of the grid now, comfortably on the back there. So we will watch all of our drivers come through Some difficulties getting the grids up on the screen for you, especially with the two-strokes. They don't get to stop, and it's not quite so easy to pick the numbers up of those carts as they're all moving. So we'll see them as the race unfolds. So seem to be in much better formation this time. On the outside though, an absolutely rapid start by the 44 of Andy Ambrose, though he's going to have to run it wide and round the outside. The additional power of the 77 in the X30 of Richard Callen gets the hammer down early into that corner, returns to the head of the field. So as the early pace setter, Daniel Kell looks like he's made a move up from the outside of row 2 in 4. He's now going to have to battle. That's another X30 coming through. That's Sam Barrett. He started in 5th, having only participated in half of qualifying, having lost a rear wheel. That one looks to very much so have been reconnected, and he will now look with the two X30s to take the battle to Richard Callen, although he is struggling with a little bit of grip round the outside of hairpin 4 to get past our leading Rotax driver, the number 44 of Andy Ambrose. All of the drivers struggling there on the inside with that little puddle, sending them very wide, but as they come through for the first time, looks like a cone's been moved now and everybody's having a go at going through the chicane puddle. It's Richard Callen at the head of the field from Andy Ambrose. Sam Barrett is 3rd, Max Prentice and Jude Cole 4th and 5th. Ambrose now still trying to take the battle to Sam Barrett. Looks like the additional power down the back straight might give Barrett a run if he can get into the slipstream. He can't, so Barrett remains in 3rd, and this just plays into the hands of Callen, who will be opening out his lead at the front of the field. Swan is 6th, Puccini 7th, Slammen is 8th, Will Young is 9th, James Austin 10th, Zach Bowker 11th, Chris Gibbon, Stephen Kell. We have Parker running in 29th. That's Adam Parker in his first meeting here. Bit of grass there by Sam Barrett, catches that puddle on the inside that is sending all our drivers out wide. Prentice and looks like Prentice and Kell are having a bit of a battle, although Kell not coming up on the timing screen, so it looks like his transponder isn't working, so we'll just have to factor him in on circuit where that comes out. Reeve comes over, having taken a place from Parker. Parker drops down the field a little bit, so early pace setter, and we have a 4-second gap for Callen as Barrett struggles in his X30 to get past the 44 of Andy Ambrose. Then it looks like we've got Kell in 4th, although he's not shown on screen. Barrett goes down the inside of hairpin 4. Andy Ambrose is round at the outside of hairpin 4. He's going to lose at least 2 places. One's to Kell, one's to Ambrose. A couple more as well. So Prentice 3rd, Ambrose dropping away now. Jude Cole shown as 4. Ambrose now, he thinks he comes over the line. He's dropped below Bowker as well. Gibbon, Ambrose has dropped away, and see if he does actually in fact come over the line and get himself running again, but he's now 25 seconds down. So Andy Ambrose's championship lead could be eaten into during this race. His nearest challenger is the 89 of Daniel Kell, who you can see on screen now, but he's not coming up on the timing screen. Potential transponder fault for him, but he's currently sits in front of Max Prentice. So we have Callen, Barrett, Kell. There he is now. It seems to be working again. Kell goes up into 3rd, Prentice 4th, Cole in 5th, Swan is 6th, Puccini, Slammen, Young, Bowker round out your top 10. Gibbon, Austin, Stephen Kell. Then we've got Tom Reeve, Adam Parker and Andy Ambrose down at the bottom of the field now. 6 laps remaining, so we're almost at half distance of our first 2-stroke race. So just to give you an update as to how things are, the drivers shown on the live stream with the blue numbers are our senior drivers. Those shown with the white number are our junior drivers. So it's a mixed bag here at Teesside. If you're a junior driver and you do well, you start right in the mix of the senior drivers. And then we have the senior drivers as well running different classes. I think we've also, in the past, we've had a Minimax out with us, and we've certainly got with these 2 X30s out today. They're running towards the head of the field in their own battle, which is currently being led quite comfortably by the number 77 of Richard Callen in his second meeting here at Teesside. A couple of drivers in this class, joining us for the first time. We've got 29, I believe. Adam Parker has come into the pit lane, so that does move Andy Ambrose up in another place. So another couple of drivers running. So Adam Parker, driver running for the first time here at Teesside. Another couple of drivers, James Austin and Tom Reeve, running here for the first time. So we'll track their progress throughout the day. Will Young as well, running in ninth, another driver on his first time. He currently runs fifth in our junior class. Kell comes round hairpin 3 with 4 remaining. It'll be 3, I think, when he comes over the line in a few moments' time. Callen is through, as well as Barrett. Kell, Prentice taking the challenge in his junior kart to our senior drivers, as he has done for most of the season. He's really been the standout of the class in our junior. I think pretty much has that championship wrapped up in the junior class already. We follow the number 22 round the bottom corner. That is Tom Reeve. First timers here. He's currently battling it out with the recovering Andy Ambrose after his spin earlier on in this heat. And took him a while to get it going again, but once he did, he's starting to make amends. And his next target down the track will be James Austin, number 21. But he's got a couple of seconds at least to make up to get him onto the back of Austin. Slight change further up the field though. Prentice has got himself past Kell for third overall. Clear leader in that class from Jude Cole. Although it does look like Kell's dropped down to fifth on the timing screen, and now to 1 lap. So if he's still running in the 89, it could be that transponder playing up again. We'll see if we can pick him up on the stream to see whether he is still running. He's followed a 44 of Ambrose on his recovery drive to try and make up some time after that early spin. Still not shy of confidence though, throwing it through those puddles in the wet weather conditions. He has come through, and on the screen is shown as having overtaken the 89 of Kell, who is now shown as 2 laps down, although he's still there on track. So I think we've got some transponder issues for the 89. Both of those drivers coming up onto the back of the 22 of Tom Reeve. Kell goes down the inside. Reeve gives them both space, as Prentice then looks to go right round the outside, grab the cutback to the inside to see if he can. He's going to have to do a little bit of extra power there out of the senior kart, getting the drive done as he got alongside him on the way out. 1.5 laps remaining for these two drivers. Last lap board though is out and has been taken by our leader Richard Cannon. Both of these drivers taking much different lines around there. Prentice should get a better drive having taken a wider line, but the additional power that Dan Kell has in the 89 gets him over the line comfortably. He was shown as 15th on the screen now, wins third on track, as we have half a lap remaining for our race leaders. The battle remains though for this third place between Prentice, and Prentice is pushing, grabbing curb on the inside of the chicanes, really working that Rotax kart to try and see what he can do to get up onto the back of Daniel Kell, but there's more space between them this time than what there was last time. The checkered flag though is out for our race leader. He's through and over the line. Heat 1 goes to the 77 of Richard Cannon. Very comfortable gap of currently 13 seconds from Sam Barrett. Sam Barrett will come through. Check us out though further down the field as drivers that have been lapped already. So that's Austin and Ambrose there in 11th and 12th. Over the line, Kell comes through in third on circuit, not on screen though. Prentice is third, potentially fourth. Next one through will be Jude Cole in a few moments' time. That is the 22 of Tom Reeve coming over. That, in fact, in the background is Jude Cole coming through to take the checkered flag and second place in our junior class. Then there's a battle for third in that class between Ben Ficini and Joe Slammen. Plenty of karts coming over in varying fashion. The number 90 coming over there of Stephen Kell, a driver driving heroically today with a broken finger, having lost a battle with some very wet steps at Donington Park last week. He strapped that one up, managed to get himself into his road tax cart, and all credit to him for getting himself out there onto the circuit. So Richard Callen in the number 77 is your first winner for our heats. We'll be back in a few moments' time with our senior pro kart class, and there we are coming over. There is your race winner, the number 77 of Richard Callen. Big thumbs up there from the 77 of Duke Cole and the 52 behind him, the bright yellow livery of Paul Swan. That's the 22 of William Young coming over as we watch the final few of our two-stroke drivers making their way over the weighbridge. That is the number 90 of Stephen Kell. Said earlier in the week that as long as he keeps his little finger out of the way that he's broke, it's not too bad. The wheel of that road tax cart. So out onto the circuit now, trying to get as much heat as the tyres for this senior pro kart heat 1. We have a pole sitter of Connor Lucas in the 43, and he will start alongside Josh Folkus. Connor in the 43, having won the first 20 races of the season, max points in the first 5 rounds, had that run ended by Josh Folkus in spectacular fashion at round 6, as he then went on and won all 3 heats and the final in that day. First spoils today though go off to our pole position of Connor Lucas. Connor leads the championships by 44 points here at Teesside. Needs 198 points today to guarantee that championship. Josh Folkus ideally and maximum score. Third is Sam Harris, 151 of Brandon Truman Reddish. On the inside in 5th is Ben Fallon, outside of row 3. Checking his engine there is Jake Hooker. We have a superb qualified 7th for Nigel Richardson with Martin Black in 8th. The 81, Mark Tate starts alongside Scott Tate in the 31, Tate 5th row. 52 is Connor White, he starts alongside 55 of David Brown. Behind him 73 of Danielle Gardner, the 98 of Emma Brown. 80 of David Brewis, then we've got the 44, which is Adam Wood, and then the 118 of Michael Eden, 183 of Auburn Dow, the 5 of Ben Lester, and the 4 Josh Eden. That is your senior pro kart grid as the start line marshal makes his way back to the start of the field. These drivers will take the chicane at the start of this. Keep an eye out, slick tyres all round as we get underway in the senior pro kart 1. It's a good start from the front row by the pole sitter. Everybody gets through. The only casualty of that first corner at the time was the cone, but it looks like we've got one of the Tates round. Try and pick that number out. It looks like it could be the 31 of Scott Tate as the drivers make their way through, taking chunks of curb as they go. Connor Lucas though leads from Josh Fallon. Looks like we've got Martin Black's made a move up quite early as Brandon Truman Reddish drops down to 5th. Jake Brooker is up to 6th, still runs 6th, sorry, having started 6th. So we are underway. See, it looks like we've got Ben Fallon making a move down the inside of Brandon Truman Reddish. Truman Reddish though cuts back onto the inside, those two. Battling it out, different lines for both of those drivers as they try to make everything work for those. We'll over restart line for the first time. We'll see who's been the winners and losers for the first time round. It's the 31 that we can see there, so it was the 81 that had gone off. Drivers come through. We have Connor Lucas leading, Josh Volkers, Sam Harris, Martin Black, Brandon Truman Reddish, Ben Fallon, Scott Tate, Jake Brooker is 8th, Nigel Richardson 9th, Connor White is 10th, David Brown in the 55 is 11th, Danielle Gardner 12th, David Brewis, Emma Brown, Adam Wood moves up to 15th, Mark Tate has recovered to 16th after the spin on the opening lap, Michael Yeadon, Alban Dowell, Ben Lester and Josh Yeadon. 20 drivers taking to the circuit in tough conditions here at Teesside Autodrome. It's not really getting any better out there. You see drivers throwing the kart in as it understeers and then tries to find some grip. The 52 of Connor White goes down the inside of Nigel Richardson. 55 in the background there is David Brown. He comes across the front of Danielle Gardner. Gardner cuts to the inside. 4 different karts, 4 drivers. Richardson stops on the apex to try and hold up, but it's not. White manages to make his way through. So White, Richardson, Gardner all over the back of the 55 of Brown. Everybody clipping the inside of the that puddle there, getting rid of the water. Ben Fallon in the 113 coming under pressure by Scott Tate for 6th. Sam Harris coming through there in the background in 3rd. Martin Black is 4th. Brandon Truman Reddish is 5th. Background looked like we had a another overtake as we have the 111 of Jake Brooker trying to take the battle to the number 31. He's going to try a line right round the outside there to see if he can garner some grip from the tarmac. Looked like he did get a lot of grip out of there, but not enough to make it all the way round the outside of the 31. He's going to try to save around hairpin 4. See if he can find some grip on the normally unused tarmac round the outside of there. Now they are 3 laps in, and it's Connor Lucas with a comfortable lead from Josh Volkers in 2nd place. Sam Harris 3rd, Martin Black 4th, Truman Reddish is 5th, leading our clubman class with Ben Fallon in 6th, Scott Tate 7th, Jake Brooker 2nd in clubman is 8th, Danielle Gardner runs 11th, she's 3rd in clubman. Between those two we have Connor White and David Brown. The 40s class are generally all running together today at the moment. We've got Nigel Richardson in 12th, having dropped back from his superb 7th in qualifying, with David Brewis and Mark Tate now all back up to 14th, having spun on the opening lap. We follow the 98 of Brown, followed by the 44 of Adam Wood, as we see them. As we cut to the South Bank corner, 31 and the 81 running together, and that suggests that the 31 has dropped back a long way. The 80's just behind, so it looks like Scott Tate has dropped a few places. The 81 of Mark Tate certainly made up one as he runs in front of David Brewis. Scott Tate tumbles down the timing screen to 12. Mark Tate runs in 13. So your top 10 so far. Best lap for a driver that time round was Nigel Richardson. Lucas leads though comfortably by 1.8 seconds from Josh Volkers. Sam Harris is 3rd. Martin Black 4th. Brandon Truman Reddish, Ben Fallon, Jake Brooker, Connor White, David Brown and Danielle Gardner round out your top 10. Gardner running in 10th. Currently our clubman class leader in terms of championship points, so we'll be looking to maximise what she can today out of changeable, well not changeable, it's terrible conditions really here at Teesside. The only change is how much it's raining really, and I can't see it stopping for most of the day as Connor Lucas pumps in a fastest lap to cement his time as we've got a spin out on circuit. That's the 118 of Michael Yeadon. He's out of the kart and on the grass. It was beached. He's pushing that one back out onto the circuit and just slows himself down as he to allow the leaders through. That's on the outside of hairpin 1, or the early into hairpin 1, so it looks like he's lost that under braking. Allows the 2 leaders to go through, so that's Connor Lucas and Josh Volkers through. So now he will run between Josh Volkers and Sam Harris, so there is a 6-second gap between those two. We are half race distance here in our first senior pro kart heat. The pace a lot slower than what you would normally see these drivers running at because of the wet weather conditions and the slick tyres that they are running on. Following 53, that is Sam Harris. Normally runs karts with a 974 on it. 3 on today. Sliding it through opposite lock through them corners. Currently running third. Comfortable gap back to Martin Black, although he puts in a 102.929 for a personal best, as does Brandon Truman Reddish in 5th. Movement further down the field sees Connor White move up from 8th to 7th at the expense of Jake Brooker, who drops down to 8th. David Brewis has got back past Mark Tate, so that's a Brewis sandwich between Scott Tate in 12th and Mark Tate in 14. As we watch Sam Harris make his way past Michael Yeadon down the back straight, cuts in back onto the racing line to maximise his way round that corner. Takes a very tight line round there. Yeadon right round the outside. Drivers taking different lines. We saw Jake Brooker earlier go right round the outside in order to see if he can find some additional grip. In turn now, comes under pressure into that corner by Daniel Gardner. As we follow Sam Harris through. So Harris is third, personal best for him, as drivers get more comfortable with the conditions. Truman Reddish through in 5th. Ben Fallon is 6th. Connor White will come over the line in 7th. Jake Brooker does in fact drop 3 places on that lap. David Brown up to 8th, Gardner 9th. Richardson up to 10th, Brooker down to 11th. Connor Lucas though with a comfortable lead so far, although Focus has taken a couple of tenths out of him that time round. As we see these two drivers battling their way towards the championship. Looks like Focus could actually be closing slightly on the screen, although we'll see more so when they come out onto the straight. Drivers now, back markers coming into play. Lucas dives down the inside on the fort of Josh Yeadon. Yeadon sensibly stays out of the way. Superb driving there by the number 4 of Yeadon, allowing leaders to come through. He will have a bit of space now before the next one in the trade comes through. The top 2, 10 seconds away from any other drivers. And it's Connor Lucas with 1.9 seconds on the O-plate of Josh Volkers. These two drivers used to battling it out field here at Teesside. Wet weather conditions makes no difference to that. The two of those battling out in these conditions. It's very, very wet out there. You see the spray there coming off the back of Josh Focus. And you see a lot of drivers taking it far steadier around hairpin 3 than the other 3 hairpins here. That corner certainly does hold a lot more water than the rest of the corner. All the other corner tends to run off a little bit and dry it very slightly. Hairpin 3 remains very, very slippy throughout the day, and even if the circuit was to dry, it would still be a little bit greasy for drivers. As we watch the race leader on his final lap, the 43 of Connor Lucas, throwing that kart left and right through that chicane as he makes his way past the 183 of Alban Dow to put a lap on Alban as he goes onto the back straight for the final time in Heat 1. It looks very much like he's got 3 corners remaining for Connor Lucas, and then the sweeping bends over the start line. See, he's got one more kart to negotiate potentially. That could be the 5 of Ben Lester. Going to take it very sensibly. Goes down the inside, and that's this one done with. That's wrapped up for Connor Lucas. He's just got 2 sweeping bends to do. Comes round that corner sideways, over the line sideways, takes the checkered flag and the Heat 1 win. Followed over the line by the O-plate of Josh Focus. In the background, it's going to have a slight wait, and then we're going to get the 53 through of Sam Harris, shown on your screen as 9.74. There he comes through emphatically sideways over the start line. We have Martin Black over Brandon Truman Reddish. Loses out on the final lap, though, to Ben Fallon, who comes through in 5th. Truman Reddish is 6th, though, but still leads the clubman class today over the line. Connor White in the 52 is 7th, David Brown. Danielle Gardner, Nigel Richardson. Jake Brooker 11th, dropping back from 6th on the grid. Scott Tate and Mark Tate are 12th and 13th. David Brewis, Adam Wood, Emma Brown and Ben Lester. That is the end of the first cycle of races here. We'll be back in a few moments with Bambinos. However, just want to say a quick thank you to our sponsors, our NRG Cycles. You can pop up into the cafe. They've got some of their products on offer. Or if you want to check out their website, it's www.nrgcycles.co.uk, where you can get free delivery when you spend £50 on their online store. That going over, though, is your race winner. That is Connor Lucas, followed by the number 5 of Ben Lester. We'll be back very, very shortly with Heat 2 of Bambino. Welcome back to the start of the second heats, and we have our Bambinos will be the first one down. On the screen you see all the parents making their way to the grid. Each one of them will then line their Bambinos up out on circuit. So whilst they are gridding up, please do get in touch with us via the live stream, either via the Teesside Karting Facebook page or via the Alpha Live YouTube page. While you're there, press the subscribe button to the Alpha Live page so that you don't miss any of the karting action and circuit racing action that Alpha Live cover. Please, though, do get in touch with us via the live stream. Let us know where you're watching from, which drivers you're supporting, and we'll give them a shout out throughout the day as we watch our Bambinos grid up there. The 22, Thomas Potter. The 6th of Jacob Richardson. Looks like he might be having a couple of problems getting that kart underway. We have the 44 behind him of Edward Haynes. Behind that is the 53. That is Bobby Peat. 66 is Edward Wray. Then we have the 69 of Reilly Buckton Young, and the number 88 of Ollie Carter, followed by the 8 of Harrison Dunn. We just have just a slight delay there as we get the kart running, try and get the kart moving. The number 6 of Richardson. So we'll see if we can get that kart moving or moved off circuit. We have a see if we can get that one underway as we move at the front of the grid. First kart out and onto the circuit is the Solai Army of Felix Smedley. He will be followed away by our lead comma driver from the first heat, our first heat winner, number 7, Scarlett Dunn. As we follow the 19 of Felix Smedley through the first chicane. Please. So we have the 19 there of Felix Smedley going round. He's our sole and leading IARMY driver. Following him is the number 7 of Scarlett Dunn, and I'm pleased to say that I am joined in the commentary box right now with Scarlett's mum, Amanda. Now you're running 2 drivers with us today here at Teesside. There's 7. Oh yeah, just a minute. Do you want to hold that? The number 7 of Scarlett and the number 8 of Harrison. So Scarlett has done very well, won the first heat, and Harrison's running in his first competitive race. How do you think they're both doing today?
I mean, they're doing really well considering the horrendous weather conditions we've got here. So for Harrison, it's a very tricky experience, to say the least. The conditions are very, very wet. There's a lot of standing water. And as you mentioned, it's his first time competing, so a lot to take in. Scarlett's doing extremely well. She loves the wet. She's very smooth, very consistent. So hopefully she can keep her head down and stay out of trouble and get some quick laps in.
So two drivers that have got a bank of talent that they can lean on in terms of advice. A full family of racers, I believe. John, give us a little bit of background as to where that started to where it is now, running 2 drivers in our Bambino class.
Yes, there's 3 generations of racers basically. My father was an ex-racer competing in Formula Fords from Atlantic, single-seaters. Myself, I raced 20 years, starting in karting, starting here actually in Junior Britain, Senior Britain in 1989, and then progressing into Formula Fords from Atlantic, TBR Tuscan and various races. I've got 3 British championships to my name and 1 international championship in Formula Atlantic, so I'm not bad for a girl either. Their father is an ex-racer himself as well, racing in sports cars and such as that. And then obviously Scarlett's been racing nearly a year now, and Harrison's just starting, so lots of experience there. So
Harrison in his first time out, I know he's done a lot of practicing here at Teesside, probably not in conditions like this I'd imagine, but I know he's been putting in some times and working with Scarlett. I think Scarlett, this will be her last year in Bambino, and she'll move up to cadet next year?
That's right. Bambino, basically, they can only run till the year of their 8th birthday, so we've already got a cadet kart lined up. He's out racing today as well, so we've got that ready. Hopefully October we'll get our hands onto that so we can get her fitted in it. That's the first issue we've got to deal with. Scarlett's very small. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. We've also got an IAME Bambino, which Scarlett's been testing. She loves it. She loves the extra speed. There should be about 5 seconds a lap quicker. That's how it compares with Scarlett's driving anyway. Because that's then slick, is it not Gordon? The IAMEs can run on slicks and wets, and they've got an extra 10 brake horsepower, so it's to get the experience of driving that before the big step into the cadets.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much for taking the time to come and speak to us. We've got 4 minutes remaining now, and I'm sure you want to get out there and watch your 2 bring this one to a close, with Scarlett running at the front of the field. So with 4 minutes remaining in Bambino Heat 2, it's Scarlett Dunn at the head of the comma field. Thank you very much, Amanda, for taking the time to come and speak to us about the endeavours of Scarlett and Harrison Dunn. We'll track those throughout. The Richardson kart wouldn't start when it came round, stalled on the start line, and they couldn't get it moving. So unfortunately for Jacob, misses out on Heat 2 for our Bambino class. Have a quick look to our the comments on the live timing. We've had a Carol Blythe on supporting Asha, who did superbly in qualifying and in Heat number 1 of our Junior Pro Kart class. We'll have and then our cadets will be up very, very shortly after that, and support as well in, as always, from Maisie Mentia supporting Lizzie in the 50. So we have 2.5 minutes remaining of this Bambino second heat so far. The number 4 of Oliver Sibbald is on track, and he is battling with the 22 of Thomas Potter. Potter was behind him previously, but is in front of him on track. So we see him come through, and he is our current championship leader, trying to get as much as he can in terms of speed in front of the number 44, which is Edward Haynes, who is second in the championship and has been the form driver of the last couple of rounds. Although looks like Thomas Potter has got himself going and is enjoying the wet conditions as he moves, as expected, up to 3rd, with Oliver Sibbald going down to 4th. minute and 45 remaining, so that's going to be 2 laps at most for our drivers. Please do, though, get in touch with us if you are watching and let us know who you're supporting, and wish them all the best in these wet weather conditions. We watch Oliver Sibbald go round hairpin 1, hooks it wide to maintain the speed out of hairpin 2 and onto the back straight, takes a slightly wide line there onto the concrete rumble strip and bounces the Bambino kart over the outside. I think our Bambinos run to a weight limit of 69 kilos, so that equates to the weight potentially of maybe a small adult or teenager. So bouncing those carts over the curbs is very difficult to keep them down. They're not going to win the battle against the bumpy rumble strip. 50 seconds remaining, so the last lap board is likely to have been shown to our leader. We'll shout out in the background there on the screen to the sole occupant of the bank stood there in the rain watching this Bambino first heat, as we catch the number 44. That's Edward Haynes, currently runs in 5th place, battling for a championship, although today dropping a couple of points to Thomas Potter, who's had a 3rd and a 2nd in the heat, and I think Haynes has been potentially, if he finishes where he has, will be 4th in all of these. So Thomas Potter looking to extend that championship lead that he's got, as we see Haynes go down the back straight. The last lap board is out for all of our drivers now. They've all come through to take that last lap board, or at the very least the leader has, and that's the number 19 of Felix Smedley. He has a 19-second lead. Actually a 14-second lead, sorry, from Scarlett Dunn in the number 7, who's our leading comma driver. So we have Smedley from Dunn, Potter, Sibbald, Haynes, Peat, Wray, Buckton, Young, Carter, Dunn and Richardson. The last lap board is in fact out there. You see Marshall holding it out. That's the 53 coming over the line to take it. That is Bobby Peat. We'll have one other driver, which is Edward Wray, on the lead lap, and he's got 1:05, so there's every chance Smedley could close that down in the Solai Army. And there we go, over the line. That's your race leader in Felix Smedley. So that's Smedley from Dunn. Dunn will come through very shortly to take the checkered flag and win comma heat 2. That's 2 comma heat wins for Scarlett Dunn. Over the line comfortably in the lead, enjoying the wet weather conditions. And that's 2 from 2 for Scarlett Dunn. I wouldn't be surprised if she went on to take another heat and a final later on in the day. Thomas Potter comes through. Oliver Sibbald, Edward Haynes and Bobby Peat will bring everybody through. Harrison Dunn will be through very shortly to take the checker as well. 3 more drivers over the line, getting mixed up. That is Haynes coming through in the 44 in the background. He finishes in 4th. Peat comes through. He is 5th. So that's everybody over, and it's another win out the front for the number 19 of Felix Smedley. Second on circuit, but leading comma is the number 7 of Scarlett Dunn, as we see the 4 of Sibbald and the 88 of Ollie Carter go down the back straight. Different line. Look, number 4 of Sibbald is on the lookout for puddles down the back straight there, and you see the standing water that is collecting at different parts of this circuit. There is your race winner coming over, the number 19 of Felix Smedley. Number 66 coming over is Edward Wray. He'll be followed by the number 8 of Harrison Dunn in his first competitive race meeting onto the weighbridge. The number 69 is Reilly Buckton Young, and the number 7 is your comma heat winner, Scarlett Dunn. So that's all our Bambinos through, and in the background you saw our junior pro-kart drivers out onto the circuit for heat number 2. Normally here at Teesside we have an hour break between heats 2 and 3. Today, because of the weather conditions, that will be reduced down to 20 minutes. So if you haven't been able to see that on the Teesside owner driver Facebook group, please note we have a 20-minute break between heats 2 and heat 3. So especially as well if you're on the live stream and you're used to watching us and going away for an hour to make yourself some dinner, make it a quick sandwich, because you've only got 20 minutes to get back before the start of heat number 3. On pole position now of heat 2, we have the number 38 of Aaron Alexander. He starts alongside Callen Booth. Ciaran Lambert will be 3rd, with Asha Blythe in 4th. Jack Morris is 5th from Mason Barker in 6th. Owen Spears and Sandra Ballesteros are 7th and 8th. Brandon Jennings, Jacob O'Connor, 9 and 10. Benjamin Haffenden and Thomas Braid are on row 6. Ben Hogarth in the 37 will line up in 13th. So there you can see on screen your front row at the time on the inside was Aaron Alexander in the 38, just looking back to see how quickly everybody else is gridding up. 13 is Callen Booth, 14 is Ciaran Lambert, 15 is Asha Blythe, 24 will be Jack Morris, having a quick chat and look back with the 41 of Mason Barker. I think we're likely to see those two trying to work together to make their way through the field. Morris recovering, having spun out last time from 3rd down to 6th, and then worked his way back up the field to 5th place. Going to have, I think we've just got a slight confusion with their positions. We're just going to have a quick check to make sure everybody is where they should be. I think Sandra Ballesteros there in the 19 should be on the outside of row 4. I think he finished just behind Owen Spears last time. The 18 there, that's Haffenden. I'm just going to have a little bit of a reshuffle. Move everybody round to where they need to be. Braid moves to the inside. And that will leave Haffenden and Hogarth. Haffenden there on the outside, Hogarth on the inside. That looks like the housekeeping has been dealt with. Going to get that all cleared now, and we should be underway very, very shortly. Visor down from the 13 of Booth. Remember last time he made a fantastic start and then ran a little bit wide. Let's see if he can do that again. Not this time out. He bogs down and gets swamped by the 2nd and 3rd row. It's Lambert who's the winner that time. So Alexander with a fast start. Then Ciaran Lambert. Let's see where Callen Booth filters back in, but he was swamped by the 2nd and 3rd row and dropped far, far back. Alexander though leads round that corner. Looks like it's the 14 of Lambert. Lambert comes under pressure though from Morris. Morris from the 3rd row up to 3rd already. Great start for him. 41 is Barker. He was also on the 3rd row in 6th. He's up to 4th. Spears looks to be 5th. But leader, as expected from the front row, goes Aaron Alexander as the circuit conditions look wetter than ever round hairpin 3. Splashing their way round. Aaron Alexander will come over the line for the first lap here of the Teesside Autodrome with a 58.020, and he is your leader. Callen Booth is all the way down the field. He is down to 12th on the timing screen. In fact, he hasn't come through just yet. So Alexander leads from Lambert and Morris. Barker, Blythe, Spears, Ballesteros, O'Connor, Braid, Jennings, Haffenden, Hogarth. Callen Booth comes over with a opening lap of 1 minute and 16.9. He's 20 seconds now off the lead. So unfortunate start for Booth, but Alexander is your leader as the drivers come round that bottom corner. And if I'm being honest, it looks like it's the worst it's been so far round that bottom section in terms of how wet the circuit is. The Junior Pro Kart drivers on their wet tyres though, driving really well, splashing through the puddle on the inside on the entry to the bus stop chicane. Braid has moved up to 8th, O'Connor 9th, Jennings in 10th. Aaron Alexander though has a 1.33 second lead in his quest for the inaugural Junior Pro Kart Championship. Drivers splashing their way now through heat number 2, round hairpin 2. It's Ciaran Lambert holding off Jack Morris for 2nd. In the background, Mason Barker is 4th, Asha Blythe 5th. We have Owen Spears and Sandra Ballesteros in 6th and 7th. Thomas Bray, Jacob O'Connor, Brandon Jennings, Benjamin Haffenden, Ben Hogarth, as Morris cuts to the inside and he will run side by side with Ciaran Lambert. Lambert's going to stick it out down the inside, side by side. Morris is still there though, and Morris goes up into 2nd with Lambert. Hard but fair racing from those two drivers. Lambert now will look to return the favour as quickly as he possibly can, but Morris, we know, having come through from the 3rd row, has some speed in these wet conditions as he sets off in search of the number 38 of Aaron Alexander at the head of the field. Barker now will have to look to see if he can get onto the back of the number 14. Look over the shoulder from Ciaran Lambert. Knows he's got a little bit of a gap, but he's got to keep facing forwards and try and close the gap if he can to Morris, or at the very least stick with him so that he doesn't fall back into the clutches of Barker. Now in front though, 1.7 seconds is the lead by Aaron Alexander. The gap this time round though, head down behind the steering wheel, hiding from the spray is Jack Morris. Alexander with the fastest lap of the race, 55.7, extends his lead out to 1.9, but that was to be expected as Morris had to spend a little bit of time at the start of the previous lap negotiating the move with Lambert. Just shy of half race distance, we see O'Connor and Jennings setting their personal best down the end of the field. We have Mason Barker there throwing that cart sideways, has a quick look down to the left hand side as Asha Blythe tries to tag on to the back of the number 41 of Mason Barker. Barker and Blythe both taking wide lines round there. Spears goes tighter with Sandra Ballesteros. Those two drivers both racing completely different lines, chopping and changing each lap to try and get the better of each other. Good drive by Ballesteros, but the door is closed firmly by Spears as they go through the sweeping bends and over the start line. Half race distance now at 5 laps of this 10 lap Junior Pro Kart second heat. Ballesteros, I'm surprised he can see anything. He's that close to the back of Spears and the spray that's coming off the back of that cart. Spears runs it wide. Ballesteros running a different line to try and see if he can just find a way and see if he can get some drive out of that bottom corner. That's hairpin 2. They go on to the long back straight into the south bank corner at the bottom end of the circuit. It's banked and then you come round and then there's standing water to the inside. Ballesteros now, this is where he tried to get out alongside, and he does. Again, he'll run very, very wide to try and cut back and get the drive. Spears may cut this one a little bit tighter, expecting a move. No move this time. Looks like them cones have been moved out slightly to try and hide the puddles. It's atrocious conditions here, and credit to all our drivers for putting on a show in these terrible conditions. Alexander though now leads by 3 seconds almost from Jack Morris. It looks to be another comfortable win by Aaron Alexander if he's to hold on in these wet weather conditions. We have Morris in 2nd, Lambert 3rd, Barker is 4th. Blythe though is within almost half a second of Barker trying to close that gap. But this is the closest battle on track, and it's 2/10 as the gap on screen. It's probably less than that as they go through this bottom complex. Ballesteros, certainly the quicker driver through the bottom end of the circuit, and there he is, cuts to the inside. He's going to need some drive round the outside. Is Spears. Remember, Spears is going to have the box seat. Ballesteros runs through the puddle, slows him down, and then has to fall back into line. We seem to be The 41 of Barker has dropped back slightly, 2 places. Spears is shown in 5th, Ballesteros in 6th. See if we can just make sure that is correct with the 41 having dropped away down to 7th. Ballesteros knows now though that he can get the run on that bottom end of the circuit. I think he loses out a little bit though round hairpin 2 and can't get the drive into the down the straight into the banked corner, but certainly has the measure in terms of speed on Spears at this bottom end of the track, and he just needs to try and make the move stick. Last time it looked like he'd 90% done and then got it stuck in a puddle, and it really slowed up the car. He's now going to go down the inside again, and we're going to see the move again this time. Misses the puddle on that side. Ballesteros goes right round, sideways through, but Ballesteros moves up into the top 5. Ballesteros into 5th. Spears drops to 6th. Barker 7th. Braid in 8th. O'Connor 9th. Jennings 10th. Haffenden 11th. Booth is 12th. Ben Hogarth is 13th, although Haffenden moves. But Haffenden shown as 11th. It went green there as if he'd gone past. I think they were very, very close over the line. Less than 100th of a second now. Owen Spears looking to try and see if he can do anything about Sandro Ballesteros. Ballesteros confidently throwing it in sideways into the South Bank corner. He's got himself a little bit of a gap. Now he's going to have to set off in his quest for Asha Blythe, who has dropped away a little bit from where he was, although he was right behind Mason Barker. So the gap shown as 4 seconds to Morris. Had a car in there between, but Barker has dropped away. Alexander, though, starts his last lap, round hairpin 1. Your current championship leader looking to make it 2 from 2 in Junior Pro Kart today. Onto the back straight. He has half a lap remaining to do so as he goes down into the South Bank corner, lifts the wheel up. Very aggressive driving style from the youngster in his first year in junior racing, having won the cadet championship here last year. He's taken to it like a duck to water, and that suggests the weather conditions perfectly as he comes over, takes the checkered flag for the second time today. That's 2 from 2 for Aaron Alexander. Jack Morris will come through, a credible second place for him, having come through from the 3rd row on the grid. Ciaran Lambert and Asha Blythe. Sandro Ballesteros will come through in front of Owen Spears, having worked all race to make that move and get past him. Mason Barker drops away from running 4th to 7th. We have Thomas Braid and Jacob O'Connor. He comes through in 9th. Great result for him. Jennings should come through very, very shortly, although under pressure from Booth. It is in fact Booth in front at the line. Booth recovering from a poor start to 10th. We'll see how he goes from starting in 10th from Heat 3. Hogarth is through in 13th, and that's Junior Pro Kart complete. The weather conditions not getting any nicer here at Teesside, with the rain coming down in the background. The marshals out there in these weather conditions working tirelessly, and thank you very much to them as they get the barriers in place for the start of our cadet race, which goes straight down and round the South Bank corner here at Teesside Karting. We are joining for round number 7. We have 2 more rounds in October, which will bring this championship to a close, and it will be a double header on the weekend of the 26th and 27th of October. So we have racing for you live on Alpha Live with NRG Cycles on both Saturday and Sunday of that weekend. So set a reminder, that's the 26th and 27th of October. And we will have more racing, so that will be 40 race weekend, Saturday and Sunday, which will bring this championship of 9 rounds to a close, of which 7 rounds count for each driver. 41 going over there, Mason Barker. It's not going to be the highest point scoring round for him in this Junior Pro Kart series this season. Not taking quite so well to the wet weather conditions as he normally would in the dry. In the background we see our cadets going out, and we'll be back with those and their grid very shortly. So Cadet Grid for Heat 2 is lining itself up. On the inside, Heat 1 winner and championship leader Oliver Buckton lines up alongside Gracie Mitchell in the number 11. Second row, Bella Franklin, Lizzie Mentier. Third row is Maximus Shields and Catherine Potter. Jack Balding and Isabella Stanmore-Wilson are on the fourth row. In ninth, we have David Mack alongside Ethan Girling. Jack Thompson, our leading 160 driver, starts in 11th. Charlie Wyatt is 12th. Leon Barlow, 13th. Ollie Poole, 14th. Jacob Giblett-Lee is 15th with Finlay Fishburne, 16th. Frankie Smedley, 17th. Sebastian Corking, 18th. And then the 67 of Oliver Meek lines up. 19 carts on the cadet grid. They're all lined up, and we are seconds away from heat number 2 of our cadet class. Marshall makes his way to the front. Green flag is up in the air. It's underway. Buckton with a good start. Same as well by Gracie Mitchell as they go off the line. The chicane removed and put back into place for the second half of the race as we catch them coming through the chicanes in round the second of our chicanes, and down the back straight they will go into the South Bank corner for the first time. This is still Oliver Buckton out in the lead from Gracie Mitchell and Bella Franklin. Fourth looks to be Catherine Potter. And then it looks to be the bright orange helmet could be David Mack running up in fifth. And if so, that's a great start from ninth for Mack as Buckton comes through over the line for the first time. We have a contact warning for the 16 of David Mack. Let's see, have a quick look. Mack does in fact run there. He's up in sixth. So we've got Buckton leading from Mitchell, Franklin, Potter, Shields, Mack, Stanmore-Wilson and Mentier. Jack Balding is 9th. Charlie Wyatt is up to 10th from starting 12th. But Jack Thompson 11th. Ethan Girling is 12th. Sebastian Corking is 13th. Leon Barlow is through in 14th. As our cadets make their way out onto the back straight. The 66 is your leader. That is Oliver Buckton, championship leader at the moment, and comfortably even more so with the omission of Alex Mallard to our cadet grid for the remainder of the season. Buckton, though, took his first win in Heat 1 for a couple of rounds, having had to play second fiddle mainly to our female contingent here at Teesside. Wins going to Gracie Mitchell, Bella Franklin, Catherine Potter. The only other driver getting himself into the mix was Charlie Wyatt. He currently runs in 10th. A driver that we saw at the start of the first heat had a very, very tough start to that race as he came through and got bogged down and impeded. The 42 on screen is Leon Barlow. Behind him, though, is David Mack, and he's shown as 6th on the screen. He's down now behind Leon, so he's down towards 14th in that sort of area. So looks like we've had a spin for the 16 of Mack. So we'll see how much he can recover out on track. It looked like that could have been either at the chicane or round the first hairpin as we had have him come through over the line, and he was shown in 6th. Buckton, though, still leads, opens the gap up to half a second from Mitchell, Franklin, Potter, Shields. Mack obviously dropping down, moves everybody up. It's Stanmore-Wilson in 6th, relishing these wet conditions. Mentier is 7th, Balding 8th, Wyatt 9th, Girling is 10th. But Jack Thompson, our leading 160 running, number 37 in 11th place. Sebastian Corking 12th, Barlow 13th, David Mack in 14th. Mack has to work hard to try and get past Leon Barlow, and he's not making easy work of getting past the 42 of Barlow there in the bright red cart with the bright yellow helmet. Mack struggling to find his way through past the 42, although the 42 does him a favour and runs very, very wide at hairpin 3 to open the gap up and gives Mac the opportunity to move up a place. So we have half race distance: Buckton, Mitchell, Franklin and Potter, Shields, Wilson, Mentier, Wyatt and Balding, Thompson, Girling, Corking, Mack and Barlow are the 14 drivers shown on the timing screen. I think we had 19 were originally gridded up, so it looks like we could have lost a couple of drivers, or a few didn't take the start. Looks like we're missing the O plate at the very least on the timing screen of Ollie Poole, potentially as well Jacob Giblett-Lee missing a couple of the 160 drivers. So, but Thompson runs as the leader in that class in 10th. Buckton has opened the gap out the front of the field as we follow the 42 of Leon Barlow. Round hairpin 4, runs it wide, comes through the sweeping corners, round the puddle on the inside of that corner. Terrible conditions for all these drivers, all of them performing amicably in these conditions with their wet weather tyres on, doing a sterling job keeping the carts facing in the right direction in these conditions. Barlow runs it very, very wide. A lot of grip out there by the look of it, because he's kept his foot in and kept it going. So lessons to be learned. Barlow there running very wide and finding some additional grip on the outside of hairpin 1. We have 3 laps remaining on the screen. That drops to 2 as your race leaders go over the line, and it is still Oliver Buckton with a comfortable gap of 1.168 seconds. Battles though going on behind. Mentier in 6th with Stanmore Wilson, and we have a spin. It's Lizzie Mentier is round and drops away from P6. Stanmore Wilson will then go up to 6. Mentier turns the cart round, gets it facing back in the right direction, but a spin for the number 50 of Lizzie Mentier out of 6th place and drops down. So let's move Stanmore Wilson, Wyatt, Balding, Thompson and Girling all certainly up places. Corking as well potentially, as it's Barlow in the background. So all but Mack making their way past the unfortunate spinner, number 50 of Lizzie Mentier. She gets back into the groove and onto the back straight now. So the leaders will come through very shortly to take the last lap board. There's the first one through. It's Buckton from Mitchell, Franklin, Potter and Shields. Then there'll be a gap back to what would have been Mentier, but now is Wyatt from Stanmore Wilson, and Balding running well in 8th. Then we've got Thompson in the 37, Girling, Corking, Mack and Mentier. They're coming through in 13th. Barlow 14th. The yellow flag is out on the start line, so maybe we've got somebody else round. We'll have to keep an eye out to see who the movers are later on when they come through. Not to Buckton though still leads, and there he goes round hairpin 4. Oliver Buckton has 2 sweeping corners to go through. Head down to take the checkered flag. For the second time today, Oliver Buckton wins in cadets. Oliver Buckton from Gracie Mitchell, Bella Franklin, Catherine Potter, Maxima Shields, Charlie Wyatt. We've got Isabella Stanmore Wilson through very shortly. Wyatt, a superb effort. Balding though through. It looks like Balding behind Stanmore Wilson, 7th and 8th. Thompson in 9th, Girling in 10th. Mack comes through, having overtaken on the last lap. Mentier as well. And that looks like Sebastian Corking and Leon Barlow round out the 14 remaining cadet drivers on the grid. 2 strokes will be out very, very shortly. We'll see how they fare with these weather conditions getting increasingly worse as the sessions go on. Remember, 2 more heats and then a short 20-minute break before we go into the second half of our action today. Trying to get through things as fast as we possibly can with the weather conditions as they are. And, as the remaining few of our cadet drivers make their way off the circuit, that is your leader, Oliver Buckton, going over the weighbridge. Gracie Mitchell in the 11, followed by Bella Franklin. That was your top 3. That's 4th was Catherine Potter. That is Max Shields having a great day and excelling in the wet conditions in 5th. Charlie Wyatt in the 23. He's had a little bit of work to do today, recovering from the poor start that hampered his first heat. Now moving his way forward and hoping to see where he can do for heat number 3. We'll be back in a few seconds with our 2 strokes. Two strokes are out on the circuit in the background and getting themselves into position. Let's have a quick run through of the grid for the rolling start, which will be in a few seconds. Richard Cannon and Sam Barrett lock out the front row in their X30s. Daniel Callen, Max Prentice on row 2. Jude Cole, Ben Ficini, row 3. Joe Slammin and Zach Bowker, row 4. Paul Swan is 9th, William Young in 10th. We have 11th is Chris Gibbon, 12th James Austin, 13th Andy Ambrose after his spin in Heat 1, Tom Reeve, Daniel Kell and Adam Parker. 16 karts on the 2-stroke grid, the largest grid we've had here at Teesside Karting, as we wait for them to come round and over the line for the start of their 2-stroke Heat number 2. Rolling start, remember, and no first chicane, so they will go straight on and straight through the puddle. Power is down. Richard Cannon makes the start, goes to the inside. Barrett tries to stick it out round the outside, but goes very wide and opens the door to Prentice. That is then firmly closed with the additional power of the X30. Barrett will need to make an early move if he can on Cannon, try and close the gap that was then there. Is that early move down the inside. Has to back out though to avoid contact, and Cannon is away down the back straight. So it's Cannon from Sam Barrett. 33 behind is Max Prentice. The 89 is Daniel Kell. Who else have we got in the back? And it looks like Jude Cole is running as high as 5th, our second of our junior drivers. They will come through in a few moments and we'll give you a full rundown as the 41 and the number 10 get themselves battling together. So there we go, they'll come through very, very shortly and appear up on the screen with any luck, and we'll be able to tell you where everybody sits. But out front of the pack is Richard Cannon, and he's extending that gap away from Sam Barrett in second. 41 and the number 10 are followed by what looks to be the 21 in the background. Is it? Trying to pick some numbers up. We've got a spinner, that's the 22 of Tom Reeve down the field, so that will drop him towards the back of the field. We'll now move back to where we were. So these 3 karts go round the bottom corner. Differing lines between the 3 of them. We're trying to gain some extra grip as the 41 goes right round the outside. Kart stopped on the inside though there. Let's see if we can pick out a number on that. That looks to be the 44 of championship leader Andy Ambrose. Sat on the inside of hairpin 4. So he won't be taking any further part in Heat 2. Points in that championship will then go the way of the number 89, who's going to challenge him for the championship, which will be Daniel Kell. And with Ambrose struggling, we've got a spin, that's the 10. So we've got the guy spinning it round. It looks like to be the number 10, and that's opened up the gap. We've got the 41 and the 22 going down the back straight. 21, I believe. It could be the 21, actually. It's difficult to pick out these numbers in such terrible conditions, and the 2-stroke karts going quicker than all the others. It's not so easy to pick it out, and we're struggling to find the numbers on the screen. So that's the 21. That's James Austin, followed by the 26 of Chris Gibbon. They're going to battle it out on track. We have another spinner, that's the 33. That's our junior leader, Prentice. Everybody's finding that puddle on the inside. That's another driver round. On the outside, that's with the 92. That's William Young finding the puddle on the inside and losing the back end, finding it difficult in the these wet conditions, very wet conditions out on circuit here at Teesside Autodrome. Gets himself back going though, and he's then going to battle with the number 29 of Parker. Gets it sideways though, running it wide on the outside of that corner. Caught a little bit of grass, gets the power down. Looks like Parker though running very slowly down that back straight. As Young was able to get the power down and go round, Parker looks to be slowing a little bit, and that's going to allow the number 10 in the background to close up onto that. See if he gets himself going at a more reasonable pace now for Parker. That cart going very, very slowly and grinding to a very, very slow halt is the number 29, I think, of Adam Parker. And yeah, the arm is up, and he's going to bring that one into the pit lane, it looked like, although it does seem like his power is back, and we are going again for the 29. We'll stick with him for a few seconds. It certainly looks like there's the power's come back. Maybe he's had a little bit of water in that, and it's cut it out for a little bit, but he seems to be back and running at a racing speed. Obviously, he will have dropped a little bit due to those few seconds of fine. There we go. We got Parker going down the back straight. Then we're going to see if we can have a quick look at the gaps in terms of timing for some of our drivers at the front of the field. It should be lost timing up on the screen, although it looks like we could be getting it back in a few moments, so we'll see how that goes. Adam Parker though on screen coming through. In the background though with the number 77 is your race leader, and that is Richard Callen. He's going to try and put a lap on him, or that's a brave place to try and make a move on a lapped cart when you've got a comfortable lead. Finally does get it done though without too much problem, and continues on his way in the number 77 of Richard Callen in his X30. Now Callen then onto the back straight. Round the bottom south bank corner, spraying water very, very tightly. He's got that line sorted down the inside that he's got. It is the 44 of Ambrose's cart that is stricken on the outside of that corner. Championship leaders' points are going away from him, and most likely this one will be one of his two designated drop rounds. So Richard Callen leads from Sam Barrett, 4 laps remaining. As we see them coming through, Prentice will most likely be third, although on timing screen he's shown down in 5th, although he has had a spin. Earlier we did see him pirouetting on track. We also saw Reeve pirouetting as well, and Parker showed on 3rd on screen, but he had some problems earlier on with that cart, with it slowing for a short period of time before kicking itself into gear again, as we watch the 21 of Austin going through the puddle at the start of the chicane at the start of the lap. So Richard Callen, your leader, coming through there in the background. The number 77 has a comfortable lead from the 38 of Sam Barrett. Both of those drivers familiar with each other from Lockwell Hill karting, where they both come from, and it will be Richard Callen taking the spoils again as it stands, leading the class and the field for X30. We've got Max Prentice is our top junior driver, although times are a little bit sketchy as to where everybody should be, and from what we've got up on the screen to where we think they might be out on track, we've got the 4 there. That is Ben Ficini, one of our junior drivers. He's followed by the 41, which I believe is Bowker. Zach Bowker, another one of our senior drivers, will look to use that a little bit of extra power he's got, but the lightness of the juniors, especially in the wet weather conditions, sometimes negates the need for power. We saw that with Prentice earlier, taking the battle, and how long it took for Barrett to to get past him as Reeve in the 22 moves out of the way to allow these two to battle their way through with 2 laps remaining in this two-stroke second heat. Bowker closing the gap onto the back of Ficini, who catches a little bit of that puddle and sprays water back at Bowker. Bowker, though, closing with every lap, trying to get onto the back of Ben Ficini. Will the 29 now of Parker come into play? Hold him up, and let's see, Bowker does in fact go to the inside, but bogs down, doesn't get the drive, and Ficini moves away down the inside. We're on to our last lap, and we'll pick up our winner in a few moments' time, or our leader at the very least, until he comes over and is confirmed with that checkered flag. But Richie Callen has a very, very comfortable gap back to Sam Barrett. Not as much as he had last time. It was nearer 11 seconds. Barrett closed the gap down, although part of that in the previous one was taking the time to get past Prentice. Bowker, though, still now he knows he's got 1 lap to try and make this move past Ficini. He's continually wiping that visor as the water is just sprayed back at him. Further down the road in front of those, though, is Jude Cole. So the checker is out, and he's gone through that quickly that we missed him. Richard Cannon takes the win in the 2-stroke Heat 2. Barrett comes through. Daniel Kell in the background is through as well. He'll be 3rd. Prentice 4th. Jude Cole will be through. Shown as 4th on the screen, will probably be 5th on track. I think Kell was up there, although shown down in 13th, continually having some transponder issues, I think. In that number 89, come through, that's Ficini, did in fact hold off Bowker for 5th place. Got a couple of others coming through in shortly. That'll be Parker through, and then Reeve. Reeve comes through in front. Reeve. And that is the end. That is Austin coming through in the background. So 1 more race left before we take a very short 20-minute interval here at Teesside Karting. Thank you for joining us here on Alpha Live and on the Teesside Karting Facebook page. Of course, none of it would be possible without our kind sponsors, NRG Cycles. Have a quick pop up to reception, into the cafe if you're at the circuit. Have a quick look up there. There's bikes on offer in there. Also details as well about their Christmas club, where you can get involved and get your bike for Christmas with a deposit from as little as 10%. So thank you very much to them, to NRG Cycles. We have 1 more heat number 2 for you. It will be our senior pro kart class, and they are lining up in the background. Driver there bouncing up and down in his seat is Connor Lucas, I imagine, trying to get himself warmed up in these cold weather conditions, and we'll be back in a very, very short while and to take you through our final number of Heat 2. Welcome back for the final of our second heats. It will be senior pro car, and on the front row in pole position will be the number 43 championship leader Connor Lucas. Alongside him, the O plate of Josh Falkus. Sam Harris and Martin Black will line up on the second row, with Ben Fallon and Brandon Truman Reddish in 6th, Connor White 7th, and David Brown in 8th. 9th will be Danielle Gardner with Nigel Richardson in 10th. 11th, Jake Brooker. 12th, Scott Tate. We've got Mark Tate in 13th alongside David Brewis in 14th. Row 8 has Adam Wood and Emma Brown in 15th and 16th. Then we have Ben Lester and Alban Dowell, and then Josh Eden and Michael Yeadon in 19th and 20th, as we see the 44 of Ambrose being returned back to the pit lane on the back of the rescue quad. Hopefully he can get whatever problems he's had sorted and get himself back out. in a few moments for the third heat for our two-stroke class, and then we'll be back straight away after the third heat with the final. That is your front row coming through. Conor Lucas on the left, Josh Focus on the right. That is your front row. And those two in their intense championship battle will reconvene in a few moments as Conor Lucas looks to score the required amount of points to ensure the championship here today. We have, there's your second row coming in. That's Sam Harris on the inside in the all-black livery with the white, orange and black helmet. Martin Black on the outside in the blue with tartan round the middle in the number 13. It's Ben Fallon in fifth. Then we've got Brandon Truman Reddish in the orange helmet. The following two, Conor White and the 55 of David Brown. The 73 is Danielle Gardner. And that on the outside there is the 111 of Jake Brooker. Just having a quick chat there. I think Brooker should be where Richardson is, and Richardson should be where Brooker is, because I think Brooker finished 11th in the first heat, which would put him on the inside. We'll have a quick check. I think they're trying to confirm whether that is in fact correct. I'm sure Brooker dropped outside of the top 10 on the last lap, and pole being 1, and then all your odd number finishes would normally go to the inside. I think those two have amicably agreed that it doesn't particularly matter given the run into the first corner, and we're going to get this heat underway very, very shortly. The green flag is up, the green flag is down. Lucas with a good start. Harris pops out to try and block off Black in the 13. Up and over the curb, though, as he doesn't. Everybody's through the water. Truman Reddish is round and collected by Nigel Richardson in the middle of the pack. Yellow flags out. Everybody seems, though, now to be getting themselves back and underway. But that was a good start for Brandon Truman Reddish when he was in 6th, and it's dropped him right way down the field. These conditions far wetter than what it was for the first heat of our senior pro kart class. Round is the 898 of Emma Brown. In the background is Richardson, who collected the collected Truman Reddish. Alban Dowell in the 183 is round. He's managed to jump that one out and get it moving. Weather conditions very tricky out there for our senior pro kart drivers on their slick tyres. Slowly making their way round. Concentration is key in these sort of weather conditions, splashing through the puddles that certainly weren't there 10 or 15 minutes ago. Running very wide round that bottom corner. It's Conor Lucas out in front from Josh Folkert. Sam Harris through the chicanes and through the puddles. Folkert closing in on the back. Harris is 3rd, Black 4th. Harris having gone over the inside of the corner at the start, and then the concertina effect sending everybody into spins and up and over and through puddles. That's Leicester on the inside, coming now under pressure, I believe, from Emma Brown at the back. Nigel Richardson in the 19 has pitted, as we see Jake Brooker make a move on the 52 of Conor White. White tries to run him quite tightly as Martin Black goes round the outside. That impedes Brooker a little bit, and it will allow White back down the inside. Brooker then will drop back in and will remain in 6th. So Lucas Folkers. Whoa, Martin Black is round and he's hit head on by the 52 of Conor White. There's a nose cone off. I imagine that'll be White. It is. That's Conor White who's off. Conor White runs 2nd in our championship for the clubman drivers, and that's not going to have done that any favours whatsoever. The 11 of Jake Brooker then moves himself forwards. So we'll see how many places and what's caused that sort of issue, but certainly Black and White got themselves tangled up there. Black spun round, White caught him nose on. Black is still running though, he's in the background there behind the 31 of Tate. So, and Gardner as well, so that could be, I think, 7th, 8th and 9th when they come through and everything sorted itself out. Gardner will come over the line. Brooker is up to 4th, Fallon. Martin Black certainly has dropped down. It's Gardner then runs 7th, Tate in 8th, Black in 9th. Brewis is 10th from Truman Reddish, recovering superbly to 11th after that first lap excursion. Tate, Brown, White now drops down, well down the field. Let's see whether he can get going with that nose cone, see if he can get it reattached and get back out and get some points. Yeadon is up to 16th, Dowell 17th, Michael Yeadon 18th, Connor White now all the way down in 19th and 1 lap down, so not sure he's going to have got back running or whether it matters when he's down in 19th to him. Nigel Richardson already off and into the pits, having that first lap incident in which he collected the stricken 151 of Brandon Truman Reddish off the start line. Martin Black recovering now, trying to take the battle to the 31 of Tate as Josh Falkus sets himself a fastest lap. Black does in fact try and cut down the inside. Both of those drivers, Black goes very wide, just about stays on track and takes the place right round the outside of the 31 of Tate, but goes through that puddle once again and it sends him slightly wide. Keeps it facing in the right direction this time though, unlike the 80 of Brewis. And would that be the 151 again of Truman Reddish getting involved on that corner? Brewis was certainly facing the wrong way. Looked like Truman Reddish was at least slow on exit, but he gets his way past now. The spray, look at the spray flying off the back of that 151 into the face of the number 80 David Brewis. Those two were battling just inside the top 10. Now they'll be a little bit further down. Emma Brown in the 98 runs 12th. And these two are just in front. So at least Mark Tate, at least one driver has got back in front of them following that spin. We are half race distance in heat number 2 of Senior Pro Kart. Connor Lucas leads by 2 seconds from Josh Falkus. Sam Harris sets himself a fastest lap, but he's still 7.5 seconds back from Falkus. Lucas and Falkus in a class of their own in these weather conditions. Truman Reddish once again through that through the puddle, testing out the capabilities of his wet weather suit in this by going through that puddle on every lap round this Teesside Autodrome circuit. David Brewis taking it into hairpin 1 and hairpin 2. Weather conditions certainly not getting any better. And even though, in the words of one of our junior pro kart drivers, racing isn't just for sunny days, but I certainly wouldn't want to be out there doing what some of these drivers are doing today. In what is possibly the worst weather conditions that we've seen drivers racing here at Teesside for a very long time. 4 laps remain in heat number 2, and it's another half second onto the lead this time for Connor Lucas. In the background we see Danielle Gardner going through. She currently sits in 7th, second place in class in Clubman. 5 of Leicester comes through, a superb 14th for him in his first outing here at Teesside Karting. We pick up our leader coming through with 3 remaining is the number 43 of Connor Lucas. Well on his way to a second heat win of the day and on his way potentially to taking the championship in Senior Pro Kart. Dominated the early part of the season and then had his superb run of 20 consecutive wins ended in fantastic fashion last time by Josh Falkus. But in these weather conditions, which wouldn't be surprised at some point to see some ducks floating along down the back straight. I think I could probably get a podium in a canoe in weather conditions like this, as Fulkus throws it into the south bank corner at the bottom of the circuit, hopes it grips, and it does, but he's got to try and close the gap down now as Conor Lucas threads his way through. He's starting to catch up onto the tail end of the field. Could this play into the hands of Josh Fulkus? I think it's Alban Dowell, an early spinner, who's in front of Conor Lucas. Conor Lucas is going to get blocked by Dowell into that chicane, but there really is only one line round here, unless you can make a move on somebody, and even though it's tricky, diving down the inside and trying to be later than somebody on the brakes in these weather conditions. 2.5 seconds is the gap, although we'll have to see whether Fulkus can make his way through the traffic any quicker than what Lucas can to try and close it up. Lucas to the inside there of the 118 of Michael Yeadon. Yeadon gives him plenty of room and appreciates that, does the 43 of Lucas. 1.5 laps remaining in this second heat. Conor Lucas goes round the inside of hairpin 3. Puddle now sitting on the inside of 4. And everybody really using the right round the outside of hairpin 4. It's where all the grip is on that corner. There's a slightly different type of tarmac. The driver's finding it goes a little bit better for drivers grip-wise. Last lap board out for our leader. He's got just over a minute out in front to hold on and take the victory. Josh Fulkus in behind, doing all he can, but it might not be enough today to take the battle to Conor Lucas. The gap, though, closed down by half a second last time out, I think mainly due to traffic, although Fulkus is still trying, still working hard. You see how hard the driver's having to work with these slick tyres in the wet weather conditions. Holding it steady, turning it in and just waiting for that front end to grip. Steady as it goes round that bottom corner. Round the final of the proper corners for Conor Lucas. Comes through. 10 laps of Senior Pro Kart is won for the second time by the number 43, your championship leader, Conor Lucas. The O plate is over the line, emphatically as well. Enjoys that over the line is Josh Fulkus. We wait now for the 974, which will be shown as the 43 on his nose panel, which will be Sam Harris to come through to finish in third. Jake Brooker in fourth. Great race for him, up from 11th place off the grid. David Brown, Martin Black, Danielle Gardner comes through in 7th. Scott Tate is 8th. Mark Tate is 9th. Brandon Truman Reddish will round out the top 10 if he holds on. Let's see if he comes through the camera next. He does. There he is in 10th. David Brewis will be in 11th. Some drivers coming through out of sequence due to being lapped by the leaders. But we've got Emma Brown, Adam Wood, Ben Lester, Michael Yeadon, Alban Dowell. Ben Fallon in the 113. Struggled in that one, normally runs well towards the head of the field in 17th. Josh Yeadon, and then 2 retirees in Connor White and Nigel Richardson. White, unfortunate contact with Martin Black after a spin early on. So that brings a close to the first part of the action. Don't go too far away though, with 20-minute break, and we'll be back with the Bambino Heat 3 and then our finals. The weather meaning that we're going to try and get through this as fast as we possibly can. So have a very, very quick dinner and a drink. We'll see you in around 20 minutes time for Bambino Heat 3. See you soon. Good afternoon and welcome back to Teesside Karting on the Alpha Live live stream, brought to you in association with NRG Cycles. Unfortunately, and also quite rightly so, the decision has been made to bring an end to today's action prematurely due to the what can only be described as atrocious weather conditions that we have had to battle against throughout the start of the day here at Teesside Karting. Obviously, every effort has been made to try and get the racing done and complete, but Mother Nature has beaten us on this occasion. Decision has been made to run Heats 3 and the finals at the beginning of the double-header meeting here in September. Reminder that that is on the 26th and 27th of October, running on the Saturday and the Sunday, so you'll get full heats and finals on those days, as well as two bonus rounds in terms of action on the live stream for the third heat and finals. Like I say, unfortunately that does bring a premature end to proceedings here today at Teesside Autodrome circuit, not in a position to run. So thank you very much to everybody that's been here to the circuit in terrible conditions, the marshals that have been out trying to clear the track of standing water in the short break that we've had, but unfortunately that's been not possible. Thank you as well to everybody that's made the effort to get drivers back out in terrible conditions, and hopefully now they can get themselves inside somewhere, get themselves dried off and return for our October meeting. Thank you very much for joining me for what has been a short episode for round 7 here at Teesside Karting. Join me again for the end of this round and round 8 and 9 on the 26th and 27th of October. From myself, David Sullivan, everybody at Alpha Live and everybody at Teesside Karting, thank you very much, and we'll see you then.